And we are live once again for another GRAPPL FPL Club. I'm Benno, and it's a wild evening tonight. Transfer deadline day is upon us. There's still a game going on, but we're still here. We've shuffled the squad a little bit. We've had some last-minute substitutions, a couple of yellow and red flags, but we're here nonetheless. Good to have you back first, Jamesy. It's a busy night in the world of FPL. 2 game weeks to talk about as well. It's all going on.
Back from a red flag, Benno, from last week. Apologise, everybody, for a bout of what I still suspect to be COVID, but has as of yet not been confirmed to be that. But yeah, what a night! Still, you'll see me glancing above my computer screen every couple of seconds there. 78 minutes gone between United and Leicester. Still United 1 ahead here. So if there's any involuntary swearing or roars coming from my end, just ignore me. That's just.
But if you're on 78 minutes,
a last-minute equaliser by Leicester or something like that.
If you're on 78 minutes, that'll mean Andy's on about 82 minutes. So
yeah. No TV, notoriously slow. Yeah.
I sit there watching like the footy, like the 3 p.m.s on a Saturday on my obviously very legal stream that I'm watching, and like Andy will put in the chat goal, literally like last time 4 minutes will go by, and then finally like Haaland will score or something. It's like I don't know if Andy,
I have
the
legal
games,
stream. I have no TV, and it's still like 5 minutes behind. So it's nothing to do with the illegality of it. It's just I don't know what it is, to be honest. But
top dollar.
That's like beaming straight to his own house. So remember that back in the day when like you always had like one neighbor who had like a silly massive satellite on top of the house to get like all the crazy like channels. I think that's Andy. I think that's what you're doing.
Like a betting shop. Yeah. It'd probably suit me as well.
How are you, Andy? Good to have you back, mate. Looking smart in the yellow tie. Deadline day appropriate.
Yeah, I thought I'd do something. But now on Sky Sports News, none of them wear yellow ties. They've sort of sacked that gimmick off. Yellow ties have gone. Dildos in the ear have gone. It's not like it used to be, is it?
That was over the top at one stage.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
And we had like yellow shirts, yellow dresses, yellow ties, the whole thing.
Yeah, like Jim White talking to Harry Redknapp. It just became like an annual 6-month thing, didn't it? And now,
it's a lot more like, I don't know, not more placid and relaxed. These deadline days seem to be these days. Although, like with the money spent, things could still happen between now and 11 o'clock. I'm relying on you, Andy. You're wearing the right attire, so and you've got the ahead of the rest of us. On
the phone there, Andy.
So.
Get a call.
I was going to say, just get the phone out. Just a second.
I've got the phone here.
There's no hope Jeff isn't hanging around with a dildo behind you now to stick it in your ear.
That's another matter. Joining us for the first time, Jordan. Great to have you on. You're the expert here. You're going to show us all how it's done. I think anytime I look at the GRAPPL League, you need the top. Same again this year.
There's no secret anyway. No magic secret. You guys are doing a good job the last few weeks. So.
Don't know about that, like I'm trying.
Not according to my league position.
Yeah,
you do more than me, Chris. You do stats and heat maps and the whole shebang. Like
I know.
That's it.
All the gear, no idea. That's the issue.
Yeah, we got no Gareth here this week, so you two are all very much in charge of the stats this week. But I was going to say, Jordan, like very good at like the regular leagues. Last year in the draft, mate, you came close to going with Carl Gack in those relegation spots. I'm hoping for more from you this year, mate.
I gave up around Christmas, right? And then about 5 weeks to go, I noticed I was near the bottom and Carl was below me. And I said, I'm not getting relegated. So I put in effort then the last 3 weeks. Stayed up and then...
See, that sounds like Gareth. That's what Gareth put in our GRAPPL chat this morning that he's already given up on the season. I was like, there's 33 game weeks to go, There's plenty of mileage in this season. Yeah, that's just... He's playing mind games with me already, but... Yeah, if we're not going to get enough info and stats from Jordan, stats of himself, the captain, Chris Linnaeus is here. I'm trying to think of a good nickname for you, Chris. You're going to be our guy.
I'm Mr. Set and Forget, I suppose. It would work in FPL terms if I'm going to be here all the time. I'm kind of like that person that you just can't afford to get rid of. You've already spent the money on the transfer, and now you're just like, well, I've got to make 2 transfers to get this guy out, and it's just never going to get to the occasion where you're going to be able to get rid of him. Like a Luca Digne or somebody where you've gone, I've got the spot set kind of there. Or Raheem Sterling, you spend that extra bit of money, and now you're going to, you're going to have to make 2 or 3 transfers to get rid of it. That's the issue.
You might not necessarily captain him, but he's going to tick over week on week, I think.
That's the hope, yeah.
Oh, no, it's boss to have you back on, mate. But yeah, I think you wowed a lot of our audience with the heat maps and such last week, so probably be leaning on you for some of that stuff. How did it feel to be a watcher last week, Jamesy?
It was great, yeah. I tell you, by far the best guest that has been on so far was the little run-in by Garrett's daughter. That's by far the best FPL manager that's been on here so far. Yeah, but yeah, brilliant stuff with the heat maps. Really, really enjoyed it. And yeah, nice to be watching for once rather than on here pretending I know what I'm talking about.
I think we've got Jordan taking over the mantle today.
There you go.
I don't know if there's heat maps, but you said something about Rodrigo. So
yeah, I have a list of replacements there if anybody wants them.
I think it's a weird time because, like, I think every stream we've had so far, someone's been on a wild card, and unless Jordan or James you're on a wild card, it's not going to be any of us. I think Andy's out of chips, unless you've gone down the back of the sofa, Andy, and you found like all-out attack from like 4 years ago. You could have like 2 defenders or something like that, and you're playing that this week.
I wish I could, Benno. I'm just Have
you any left?
I've just got my triple captain left, but after a discussion with Chris Linnaeus and RGF at the weekend, I'm definitely leaving that until the correct time. They've told us just leave it for double game week.
We'll get to the teams in a minute, but I haven't even looked at your bench boost. Did it go well, mate? I assume not.
The thing is, I got 68 points on game week 4. But it was that week. It was just like a freak week where a lot of people had Firmino, So whatever my bench did, it just didn't mean shit when other people were getting 90s and 100 points.
It's one of them, innit, Jordan? Like, I think the bench boost is like, as much as like nobody follow Andy's advice from the last few weeks. Like, I just don't. I think that's just it would be irresponsible for us to tell anyone to be hitting that bench boost that early. But it is one of those chips. I don't know if you find it where it doesn't really mean much at the end of the day. Anyway, you play it and then you end up with like, you know, you play it on a double and you think everyone's going to play twice and at least everyone's going to get you 4 points and you get a couple of ones and maybe an 8. It's the most overrated chip in the game anyway.
It's just worthless, isn't it? It's 5 or 6 points at the end of the week. That's all that's left. Like, that's all I get you.
Yeah. I think mine was 10 points in total for the bench, and 6 of that was the saving machine from Brentford, Raya.
Oh, he sorted out. He did well. Yeah, I mean, I was going to say it's a sore subject though. The chips for me and Chris. I think we're, varying degrees of success, mate, on wildcards the week before last. It's good though. It's one of those weeks where we've got 2 game weeks to talk about, so we can kind of forget that the game week 4 even happened, and it's like, oh, on to game week 5. Let's just forget about that. You feeling any regrets, Chris?
A little bit, because I forgot to update my Fantasy Fix app. So I was getting notifications through for Haaland scoring, and I'd obviously taken him out in the wild card. So I'm just kind of like,
It's like it was mocking you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that wasn't ideal. I think I'm happy with the team overall. Obviously, in the immediate response, not having Haaland and him scoring 6 goals in 2 games is a kick in the dick. But as terms of the team overall, it's in a much stronger place now. Going off like the poor decisions that I had at the start of the season. So I don't know. Did you try and work my way back to Haaland perhaps over a couple of weeks? But
I think me, you, and Gareth did the same thing on our wildcards. We all were like, right, there's a template forming. I want to be the first to break it. I want to think like, you know, you getting rid of Haaland. I was a hair's breadth away from doing the same thing and going Kane instead, or going, shuffling stuff around to go KDB in midfield. I think we're all just trying so hard to be different when it's just like, let's just look at the best players who score the most points. Like, I think it's simple as that.
I think we discussed it week 1, and it was just kind of like my team was set up so that I basically had a player in each position to cover each price point, and then I've just kind of blown that up and can't really get back into the position that I was now. So I've kind of boxed myself in as opposed to leave myself a lot of avenues for easy switches, which is kind of the key to the game. So I'm going to be a bit annoyed with myself up until Christmas probably. So just have to deal with it every time Haaland scores. I'll be like, oh yeah, there he goes again.
That's the thing. There comes a point where, like, because I think Gareth was like, bullshit on not having. He was thinking he wasn't going to get Haaland, and now he's going to have to get him to keep up with everyone. Like, I don't know, James, have you known a season like this one? Like, it is like we were saying, when you went on about the wild cards as well. Like, I literally spent the week chasing 0.1 millions everywhere. Because the shifts this year, and it's still happening this week as well. It's like I think the game hit 10 million players, so I think it's a combination of more people playing, more people being engaged, watching like the typical content producers and stuff. A lot of people with the same teams, but a lot of people making the same moves, and it's like I've never known a season like it where it's just like basically everyone's got the same teams, which have got like the most of the big players, but then also everyone's chasing these crazy price rises and drops. It's so volatile. It's like, I can't remember an FPL season like it.
Yeah, it's somehow, as you said, the word you used, like it's somehow volatile and yet kind of not boring. I wouldn't say is the word, but as you said, I would say the vast majority of teams now have maybe 6 or 7 of the same players, and then. The difference then is what you can do with the other 4 almost. You know what I mean? So I would imagine most people have Trent, Cancelo, Salah, Haaland, Jesus, maybe Martinelli now as well is and then Perisic very highly owned, Reece James very highly owned. That's 8-9 players. You know what I mean? So the only difference maker you can have is your fringe players around the edge, like your third midfielder, your 4th and 5th defender. Goalkeepers are a differential now at this point because goalkeeper is the only position where there's actually a bit of a disparity amongst ownership. Like it's very interesting if you look at live FPL once the game is reloaded after you've picked your team and that kind of thing, and it tells you the players in your team. It puts a little star beside the players in your team that if they do well, will push you up the ranks. And like I'm finding that most weeks it's actually my goalkeeper, and I think it's purely because there's no consensus goalkeeper really. There's a big group of goalkeepers, maybe 9 or 10. They're all 9 or 10% owned.
James,
so, yeah.
James,
Yeah.
we're going to ask, with live FPL, what is that percentage thing that's in the boxes? When it's
effective ownership, is it not?
Is that the ownership?
Because that's your
Because Haaland was like 134.3% or something.
See, if they're heavily captained, they'll then double it, so it ends up. And basically, if that percentage is above 100, then your player getting points actually makes very little difference. I think if you have them as captain, if you have them as captain, you'll do well. But if you own them and don't have them as captain, it actually, I think it means you're going to drop in ranks. If that player does well, it's going to drop in ranks. Right. So like it's So like it's a weird season. It is, and it makes moving up very hard, because I think then you start chasing differentials that aren't there. Then like you start looking at funny places for players, and you start thinking, oh, like just because this guy is low owned, I'll get him. Like, you know what I mean? And it's I don't know. I don't think boring is the word for us, because it's hard to call a game boring when you're not in the top 10K or something like that. You know what I mean? But it is something is going to have to, I don't know, maybe a big injury to Haaland or something will break it up, or something like that, or something like that will force people to go for different captains, something like that. But the good thing about this game is it does come along. Like it's not going to stay like this for 38 weeks. We are on week 5, 6 of a 38-week season. Things will happen. The World Cup will break things up a little bit. The Champions League games is now going to suddenly, if you have a team full of players that are in the Champions League, you're at a disadvantage against somebody who might have a few players from Leeds, or someone who might have a few players from Newcastle, where suddenly they're playing on a Tuesday night. Will they then start the following Saturday and Sunday and that kind of thing? So something will happen to upset the whole thing, and it will break it up again a little bit more,
Yeah, I think it's going to take like a Sterling or somebody like that to step up, and it looks like, he's been looking good the last few weeks. I'm considering him going forward. Like, how have you found it, Jordan? As someone who usually finishes quite high, more competition at the top, I think this year it's going to be.
Yeah, he said boring, but it's more, I thought it was quiet, kind of. It's like, I didn't make any transfers last week, and then during the midweek, I thought my team was okay. Like, so I had 2 transfers there. I was considering just burning it. I ended up just changing out the Silva for Reed or somebody and getting 0.1 million. And then this week, it's just change for the sake of change. Like, there's 2 transfers there. I might not use them. I don't know. It depends how Perisic gets along. Like,
yeah, I've seen a lot of people doing that who were just threatening to bet. Like, people are getting to the point where they're being like, well, at the end of the year, if like I'm tied with someone, the tiebreaker will be whoever's made the least transfers. They're thinking that far ahead. It's just like, better than just using a transfer for transfer's sake. But yeah, I'm not quite at that point, but I'm seeing a lot of teams in that boat. It's unlike any other season. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, we'll have a look. We'll have a look today. We'll hopefully, like, some of these, Andy will give us some transfer deadline day news that might mix things up. I know Martin wants us to chat about some interesting players coming and going. There might be a couple of names there. I'm not expecting anything major, but there could be things that shake the game up. But yeah, we'll have a look at our game weeks 4 and 5. We'll look forward to game week 6, talk captains and talk a little bit of the draft as well, and see if any of our fellow draftees are going to call in. But yeah, let's without further ado have a look at our game weeks 4 and 5. Chris, I'll let you go first, mate. Like me, you were on a wild card in game week 4 and going into to game week 5, and like me, game week 5 worked out a bit better than game week 4 for you.
Yeah, I think game week 5, jumping out a bit, obviously, probably end up a little bit above the average score. I mean, obviously, it depends how the rest of the United game plays out, but I can't. The average
1-0, 1-0. It's finished.
Okay, so yeah, the average was about 58. So I'll be a little bit above that. Disappointing a little bit on game week 4. Sorry, I'm just going to have a quick look. Yeah, Gungaden, obviously after hyping him up, going, he's a captain, he won't miss any games, just like the other. Started on the bench for one of those games. But he did get an assist in there. Jesus didn't score. Martinelli didn't score. It was nothing too phenomenal. I'll just go through it quickly. I just need to look on my screen now because I can't quite read it on that one. Just a second. So swapped out Ward, brought in Edison. Obviously, they let 2 in against Palace. Reece James got the assist for 1 and got 2 bonus points. Trent had a big game because they won 9-0 and he scored that banger. Perisic got a clean sheet. Nothing from Cancelo. Salah somehow not scoring in a 9-0 win. I think you'd have made a lot of money off that if you'd have said if you'd have somehow been able to do that. Kuleweski, the decision on my million-ish midfielder was Kuleweski or Diaz, and as we went over on the heat maps, Diaz is likely to score, Kuleweski is likely to assist. Kuleweski got 1 assist, Diaz got 2 goals, so went the wrong way on that specific game week, but long-term assists are probably more likely than goals. So we'll see how in the long run. Martinelli obviously comes into the team and does nothing. And then Tony and Jesus didn't return on that week. And then week 5, made my 1 transfer, which was getting rid of Zinchenko due to the injury and bringing in what I thought would be a very under-the-radar pick in Estupinan, who's like the left back for Brighton. But went out on Sunday, came over to Liverpool. We were out with Gareth, and I was discussing it with him and Andy and Jeff. And I was like, this is my plan. If Zinchenko is injured, going to take him out, bring in because me and Gareth spoke about him last week on the show. He used to play for Villarreal or Sociedad, I can't remember which one. And I was like, he's taking over the Cucurella role. It means everybody else can push further forward, and he's quite attacking as well. I think it'll be a few weeks before anybody picks up on it. Log in on Bank Holiday Monday or whichever day it was, and it's like FPL focal. New star player to bring in. Estupinan. FPL mate. New player to bring in. You stupid grandma, or this sort of stuff. And I'm just like,
you brought his name up in the chat, and I went from going, I don't know who that is, to you explaining to me who it was, and then I literally had Az from Fancy Football Scout on screen doing a stream, and then he started talking about him as you explained it. It was like I went from literally not knowing this person existed in the world to go, I get him in,
just not just being unable to get away from him. I'm just like, I didn't even get 1 week of he's still only, I think his effective ownership is, let me just have a look on FPL. His ownership is 0.3. So, it's not like he's like going to be a major threat. But I was just like, I can't believe that this one thing where I thought, this will be the one thing will be nicely under the radar, a good differential straight away. Martinelli had the big game against Arsenal, for Arsenal against Villa. Salah somehow got 2 assists and 3 bonus points in that game. That's it. I don't think he knew much about that second one. Kuleweski and Gungaden didn't really get much returns, and Kuleweski, I think they've got Fulham, and I'm worried that he's going to be dropped for Richarlison, and then they've got City, and you never know how those Spurs City games go. So he could be on the brink, and I do have the money to move him up to Diaz, but then Liverpool's games turn in a few weeks, and I'm not entirely sure I want 3 Liverpool players. But I don't know. I might need to move Perisic on.
3, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and depending on the James news, I might need to move Perisic on because I don't think he'll play against Fulham. It'll probably be Sessegnon, so we'll see about that. Tony didn't get a return. I had the decision between Tony and Andreas. Made the wrong call again. That might as well just be my catchphrase for this season. I think just made the wrong call. And then Jesus got a goal, but what does it really matter? His ownership at my level is 98.7, and his effective ownership is 100.9. So I don't actually get any benefit from him scoring. So yeah,
You don't see
Jesus,
teams without him in.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's it. So.
It doesn't happen.
But-
It doesn't happen. No,
that's it.
I'm in the same boat. But
There's a
Yeah,
section
so
about live.
overall, I'm moving up in the ranks. I might just be around 4 million now. So onward and upwards.
What was that, Jamesy?
I was just going to say that there's a section on live FPL where it tells you how many places you'll rise in the rankings per point for each player. And Jesus doesn't exist on that screen. They don't. He's not it looks like your team just has 10 players because there's no point in him even being there. Like at this point, 81% owned. Like it's just crazy. There's literally no benefit in him doing well.
Him, and I think I'd say mainly him, but also sorting out the Leicester keeper situation, like you, Chris, was a big reason behind my wild card. It was like I know I'm going to gain nothing by getting him in, but going against him clearly isn't going to work. Yeah. So he needs to come in. So I kind of made that same decision as you. Like the Salah decision, like going captain on him the 2 weeks, like what a difference a couple of weeks of FPL can make. Like we were literally sat here, like not arguing with Gareth, but going back and forth about, those Liverpool assets. A lot of people were ditching Trent. Well, mainly people were ditching Robbo. There were a couple of people ditching Trent. It wasn't necessarily an advised move, but people were doing it. People were feeling ropey on Salah. Like I felt mostly bad for Chris Elliott. Like you've captained Salah there the 2 weeks, but that the week of the 9-0 last week, Chris Elliott triple captain Salah, and like I cannot fault that. I can fault the result, but I can't fault that decision one bit. Yeah. Because if you like you said before, if someone gave you the time machine or someone just gave you the information, listen, Liverpool are going to win 9-0, what would you do? You'd triple captain Salah. Like there's a universe you would imagine that would happen where he'd come out with nothing, and then a week later, looking pretty ropey, like in a Liverpool team, like he then gets a load of points just from assists. He ends up with 2 bonus points that he didn't have until he got that 98th minute assist. Like, that's just FPL for you, isn't it?
That's it. I mean, you look at Salah in that game. It's like he had 2 clear-cut chances that any other day he scores. The other shots probably won't go in. The Trent one was from miles out. It's not something you'd expect to go in all the time. Just bizarre, just the way it works. And like you say, you can't fault the decision. The working behind it was all correct. It just came out incorrectly. Just the right kick in the dick, particularly if you're a Salah owner and not a Haaland owner, because then you've missed out. I think the point swing was 40 points or something if you only had Salah and you didn't have Haaland or something.
Yeah. As Chris said, just the way the cookie crumbles. It is. That's the fun and the heartbreak of FPL. What was that, James?
I just say sheer, there are some decisions you make that were a bad decision in the first place. That's just sheer bad luck. Nothing else, only sheer bad luck.
Yeah. Could you see yourself getting Haaland back then, Chris, or are you going to be stubborn with this?
It's going to take a bit of manoeuvring and probably a minus to get to Haaland. So we'll see. I'm kind of obviously hoping for some more pep roulette and see how that goes once the Champion Leagues games start and see where it goes from there. But I'm going to have a plan for it, I think, just in case. But we'll see. It needs to be able to get consistent points from other positions, and you can never tell, can you, with Haaland? He just looks so dangerous. Anytime he moves, like 2 defenders on him, they can't get near him. He's always in the right position. Like that second goal in his first hat trick, where he's just like stood at the back post all by himself, and he just like slowly side foots it in. You're just like, how is he that unmarked in a box full of players, sort of thing? And then whenever they're just knocking it through for him, and he's just bursting through people, it's like. It might not matter that he doesn't play 98 minutes. He only needs 20. If he's going on for 20 minutes against people that have already been ran ragged for 70, it's just unfair.
Scary, isn't it? It's like you're not watching a human being, isn't it? Or you're watching you're playing FIFA and somebody set all the stats to 100 and he's like twice as tall and he's just blast through people.
He's all wingspan, isn't he? Especially when he was holding off them to defenders, in it last week, and he's just arms.
Yeah,
It's like watching an adult play against children. He just bullies them. Like, just fix them off. And he's gone.
It's bizarre
like
because
that,
obviously you're used to the defenders being the big players, aren't you? So suddenly when your defenders are usually like in the Premier League at least, generally about 6 foot, and then suddenly he's coming in bigger, taller, stronger, faster, sort of thing. It's like you're not going to suddenly be able to find loads of new defenders that are of that sort of size, stature, and speed that you can suddenly transplant into the Premier League, sort of thing. So he's going to have his run of things for a while.
Be a lot of hat tricks coming. It's just scary to watch. It really is. It's just terrifying. And I feel your pain as a non-owner. But before we get to my team, any other learning moments? Anything else you massively regret from the wild card, or anything else you'd say, Chris?
Not really. As I say, blowing up the price point thing felt like the right call at the time. Obviously, it doesn't now, really, but we'll see. I'm still fairly happy with where we are. I think it'll be a long slog this season. We'll see.
It's going to be one of them. If you start bad like me and you did, like catch him back up again, is not going to be easy. There's my team up on the screen for the people watching on Twitch. Same as Chris did the wild card in game week 4. Like I say, main reason was sort the goalie situation out, get Jesus in, captain them, and I'm gonna defend my logic here. Like I went against Salah 2 weeks in a row. Like that week, like when Liverpool won 9-0 and Salah somehow came away with basically no points. Like don't get me wrong, that was not like a masterstroke in tactics from me from not captaining him. It was pure luck, pure just like I got away with one, but the opportunity was there. Like if I had a captain Haaland there, or if Jesus had banged, like I'll be looking back on that as one of the all-time great weeks. And that was, while maybe I'm not gonna like take credit for the logic, that was like the part I will take credit for was trying that move, because it was like I almost feel like I had to get back in the mix with people. I want to try doing some different captaincy moves this year and try and bet against the crowd, especially with Salah not 100% look at himself. It was a massively risky move. Unfortunately, didn't quite pay off for me. Watching that Arsenal game on the Saturday night was just depressing viewing, especially with the massive opportunity there. But don't regret that call. Other than that, going through my team, obviously Sanchez in goal paid off that first week with 8 points. Second week, maybe not so much. Perisic was another one I wanted to have in on the squad. I did end up with Trent. After all my big talk last week, going back and forth with Gareth, it was more I could see the logic. Yeah, I could see the logic in moving him on, but it was a dead end when you realised that they were playing Bournemouth at home. It was just I couldn't quite pull the trigger on it, even though I quite fancied spending that money elsewhere. So glad I stuck with that call. But outside of that, brought Gundogan in. He hasn't done a huge amount for me yet. 4 points in that game week 4 and 3 points in game week 5. I'm still hoping that'll come good. But other than that, same story as everyone else. Martinelli on 2. The Jesus captain didn't work out for me. Tony on 2 in that first week, and Haaland kind of being the saving grace of my team. And then into the second game week here, game week 5. Lot happy with that this week. 80 points on the screen, but I do have the points from Pereira to come in after the auto subs go through. Not sure what's going on with Zinchenko at the minute. I decided to hold fire and not make a move there. I might have my hand forced if we don't see anything. It was becoming a running joke in our group chat, isn't it? Every time an Arsenal team comes out on the tweet, scrolling through trying to work out which one's Zinchenko. I'm like, is his first name Gabriel Alejandro or something like one of those like Pereira? Just his name back.
His Brazilian name.
Just trying to cling to anything that he's going to be in that squad, and 2 weeks in a row he hasn't after that wild card that I'm in. So I don't know whether his time's going to be numbered going forward, but really happy with the it'll be 86 in total with this game week, and it definitely like you, Chris, have climbed a little bit there, so that's great. Made up a captain Haaland, like I say, with the effective ownership discussion. Watching Salah is painful when you haven't captained him. It's less painful when he's playing like he's playing. But a big talking point for me is the fact that Salah barely did anything. Haaland had what looked like an all-time FPL performance, And like you look at the points difference between the two, Salah still ended up on 10. If I captained them, I'd still be doing pretty well off that. It's not a huge difference between the 17 that Haaland got. Like it just shows you, the value of Salah being a midfielder, and the fact that I think even when he plays badly or things aren't going quite his way, he still kind of backs his way into points, doesn't he, Salah? He's still going to be Mo Salah.
Yeah. There are some players that just the way they play just falls perfectly for the FPL algorithm on the bonus points and stuff. Cancelo's another, if they keep a clean sheet, he generally gets a bonus point just because of the way he plays. And Perisic was on for bonus points until he got booked. So yeah, there are just some players. If you just go through the history of the bonus points, you can pick out a couple who you just kind of like, well, they shouldn't get as many points as they do, but it just seems to work that way. Salah's always been one of that as well. So always a good thing to look out for.
It's no fun. It is no fun watching a player that you own, and like I say, with the effect of ownership, hoping that he's going to fail. It's like
it's a miserable existence.
It's not in the spirit of the game, is it, James? Like it doesn't seem right, but that's kind of the way it's been. That's going to be like that, though, isn't it? We're all going to have to make a pick each week. It's probably going to be Haaland or Salah, and you're going to be watching the other one through gritted teeth and through the holes in your fingers, aren't you?
It's really, with there being such a template, the captaincy decision is even more like we've really seen it accentuated the last couple of weeks. Like the swing you could have had, like you said, Benno, if you had put it on, like having made the hard decision, I would say, of not captaining Salah, if you had gone for Haaland, like that would have been a massive swing for you, like massive. But that's what captaincy is this year. Like, you know what I mean? It's obviously. It would be easy now to just say Captain Haaland every week, but there's also, if you pick the week to go against Haaland as well, that could be very powerful as well. You know what I mean? Or you manage to kind of read Pep's mind and pick the week he doesn't play, where everyone else, like this weekend coming now, for example. You know what I mean? Like I strongly feel Pep will rest him this weekend. But do I have the balls to still not captain him, or will I just put the captain on? Like these are the decisions that you're rising or falling in the ranks are going to fall on. I think captaincy is massive this year. Like captaincy got very easy last year with Salah in a way. I think I would say for the 38 weeks, I'd say maybe 30, 32 of those weeks I just had Salah captain, and there was no big decision in it. At least Haaland coming along has given everybody a big call to make every week, and it's definitely going to be a big difference maker in a lot of leagues.
But it doesn't help when like Jesus and like Salah are involved in big matches this weekend, so you don't really want to sway away from Haaland against Aston Villa. Even if he doesn't play, there is the opportunity where, I think like Chris said earlier, he comes on for half an hour, bangs 2 in, and all's right in the world, isn't it?
That's what I was like scared of in game week 4. Like, and that's where I ended up going with Jesus. It was like, I don't know about, after that Pep quote, don't know about Haaland's minutes, I'll go against it. And I learned that lesson in game week 5. Fuck it. If he plays 40 minutes, he'll probably still get a hat trick. I'm just gonna have to go with it. And like, you can have that fear, and there are going to be weeks, aren't they, where it's going to go against you, but you've almost got to not look at it and fight through that.
And also the fact he was subbed off after 68 the other night. So does that in itself constitute enough of a rest to think I give him another 60 at the weekend and then take him off before? Like the Champions League game is Tuesday night. So that is a pretty quick turnaround. That's the only thing. So I don't know. I almost get the feeling like Pep is just really enjoying watching him play as well. And sometimes Pep is just such a nerd for football that he just, you know what, I'm just going to, for my own pure enjoyment, I'm just going to play him again and just to hell with it. Like, you know what I mean? Because somebody made the point that, like, what Haaland is actually doing isn't high intensity football. Like, he's not running around the place pressing people. He's having less than 20 touches per game. He's not making big runs. So, like, do you really need to rest him? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to talk myself into captaining him again at the weekend, basically. But this is the thought process of an FPL manager at the moment. Yeah. Like, all these things swirl around in your head, and you're trying to kind of figure out, am I trying to convince myself here, or is this actually what's going to happen? You know.
I tell you what, though, once Haaland learns the Man City system, he's going to be dangerous.
He needs to get used to the pace of the Prem, doesn't he? That's what it is.
Like literally every interview with any of the Man City midfielders is just like, he doesn't know what we're doing. He just kind of like he just does it, sort of thing. Like Bernardo the other day was just like, you look for him where he should be to make the pass, and he's just not there. And then the ball goes somewhere else, and then he scores, and you just kind of like, the City players are trying to get used to him, and he's trying to get used to them, and he's still scoring for fun.
Like Chris says there, it's that stat, isn't it, on the points per touch? Is it less than 2 touches per goal? At one point, it was like every touch was a goal. Like it's just he doesn't need that many chances. Like he doesn't even need that many minutes as long as he's there or thereabouts. It's gonna work out.
I think it was last night, weren't it? Two goals, 4 touches. That is just scary, isn't it?
Oh yeah. The funniest thing is, like, to your point there, James, I thought I was being really differential and different going with Captain Haaland this last week, because I was looking at it going, everyone's going to be too scared. Everyone's going to do what I did last week and think, oh, his minutes aren't guaranteed. Everyone will go Salah. And then I looked at the GRAPPL League and it was like 80% of Captain Haaland. Like, oh, well, there goes that differential.
Risk Haaland.
Yeah. I won't be thinking like that going forward, but yeah, I think he's possibly a perma captain going forward for me. But yeah, let's have a look at the next team. Jordan, you game week 4, 69 points. Game week 5, 79 points. You haven't hit the wild card at any point yet, have you? You still you holding off for like game week 8 or 9 for that?
Game week 8, I think, is when Robertson and Arnold run out of fixtures, and then I'll probably move Robbo on.
Right.
In the wild card.
What do you want to run us through your 4 and your 5, mate? How did they go for you?
Robertson and Trent had a great game against Bournemouth. Trent with the goals and the assists. I think I'm trying to remember now. James against Leicester was, once he gets into right wing back, they need to start playing James right wing back, and I think he's going in out if Fafan is in. He's lethal, like he's great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he did well for you. Obviously, you captained Salah the 2 weeks as well. Feeling regret for not going Haaland?
Yeah, if you did, I was 3rd, I think, in the GRAPPL League on live FPL on Saturday, and then Haaland put in the hat trick, and I dropped down to like 30 something on Tuesday night after Haaland. It's crazy, like.
Oh, it's painful, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. What like was it the fear? Was it the minutes? What was your thought process?
That statement from Pep last week that he wouldn't play when 3 games a week start. Alvarez is going to start and Haaland won't. Haaland will be benched, and then they both started last night.
Oh, that moment last night when we all
Fame, I'm telling you.
when we all saw that with Alvarez, and he was like, "Oh, he's doing the interviews. He's going to be playing," and it was like those painful 10 minutes waiting to see Haaland's name on that team sheet. Oh, it was rough, wasn't it? Yeah. So yeah, I think that's kind of like the story of your weeks, isn't it? It's like a couple of like strong weeks for your Jordan. All in all, it's just it's maybe the captaincy being off for you.
Yeah, if you could have talked to me last night when Haaland had scored the hat trick and Salah had no assists yet, I was bulling. I was really mad, like just pissed off with myself. I celebrate like I don't really like Liverpool, but I celebrate like crazy when the ball came off Salah's back.
Oh, I still couldn't believe that. But yeah, there you go. That's the pain of going against Haaland. But yeah, you're saying then you're considering banning a transfer. There's nobody that you're thinking may ship out.
I'll see how Perisic. I think they're talking about him with minutes in the Champions League. So yeah, getting used at coming up to the weekend. I'd say.
I mean, Jordan, there's a glaring orange shirt on the.
It's IWC.
Listen,
and I'm just like, come on,
I have a list of players here written down for to give you people to sell, and Neto is on it, and I'm not selling Neto until next week because I think I'm going to downgrade Ederson to probably Sanchez or Henderson or somebody, and then I'll upgrade Neto with that. But I'm going to have to stick with him for an extra week. The best thing he's done is last week he had a shit fixture, so I put Andreas in, and he got 6 points. That's the best thing Neto has done. It's been on the bench.
So you got rid of the silver. That was the other IWC pick.
Yeah, just to free up 1.1.
What's the story with Bailey? Is he going like abroad or something like that? Is he like leaving after this one assist after being highly touted?
Ajax were looking at him, weren't they? I think with some of the money that Man United have been giving them. Did it not?
Yeah. No, they ended up getting some guy from Spain instead to play on the right, I think. So I think he's at Villa now, and that's it. And he'll continue to stink out some people's teams for the foreseeable future, I suppose.
Just a lot of competition as well in those slots now, with them kind of changing to 2 up top. They kind of, because they were playing last year kind of like a 4-2-3-1, weren't they, I think? And now it's kind of more of a 4-4-2.
And Coutinho's not getting in, is he?
That's it.
Because he dog shit.
That's why I never thought he was a good pick in the first place. When you look at the players they have, like Ings, Watkins, Buendia, really good player. Coutinho. I'd have Bailey 5th on that list. You know what I mean? So like when this thing started in the summer about Bailey, I was just scratching my head thinking, is there something I've missed, or have people heard something, or has there been a major injury at Villa? But it was just this thing that caught on, and he just there happened to be 5 million left over in most people's squads, and he was the only apparently decent option there. I don't know, but it never, like, sometimes you get dragged into a thing like that when you listen to the logic and you go, okay, that's fair enough. I understand why you might pick it. He was never one that I ever understood.
It was the reports from pre-season where he'd scored 3 or 4 goals against Walsall and West Bromwich XI or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, luckily none of us fell for that. He's out. He went on the wild card, got rid of him. But there's always going to be players like that. Like it's one of them, and it's once like the Gareth will always say it, the FPL IWC and the content creators. Once one of them gets onto them, and then it's like we were saying before, it kind of got breeds from there. Do you watch much, Jordan? Like you like you can shoot?
Yeah, as in content creator. Sorry, my mind went blank there. Just FPL Andy, I'll put on the background or whatever, and FPL Planet, is that the other podcast?
Yeah, Planet FPL.
I just have them on the background most days, and you just pick up stuff like that. It's mostly Twitter. If you search like a player's name on Twitter and FPL after it, that's how we kind of gauge sometimes some threads and stuff.
Oh, you've cracked what I was doing in the draft when it was getting to the dregs. I was like, searching Twitter for defender FPL. See if there was anybody who
you can see me doing that. I had the tablet here out on the stream night just doing that.
Yeah. Get those stats. I used to, like, back in the day before the content creators, like a big one for me was like Fantasy Football Scouts, just their comment section. So like the Friday night when like the deadline was coming up, or Saturday morning before like there was a lot of YouTube streams, I'd just be on there seeing what people were saying in the comments and kind of gathering like intel that way. So it is spoon fed to us all these days, and it's for better or worse. But yeah, I'll be with you. I'll be Saturday morning. I'll have Planet FPL on. I'll have Let's Talk FPL on. I'll be hoping for some kind of news on Perisic, because he's like in my team. He's probably the one to go this week if I'm gonna make a move. But it's with a heavy heart. It's like with Perisic, if he doesn't play this week, it's Fulham this week, isn't it? And then the week after they got City. So it's like he's not playing against Fulham, and then they've got City the week after. There's a bit of a window there, isn't there, where you can maybe go without him. It's just a matter of who's coming in that way. But you see, you're gonna sit pretty with James. That was another one from this week. That was the in the nose were active on Twitter, weren't they? All Tuesday night.
His underlying stats are great. Like people are I don't know, people are panicking. There's like 300,000 people transferring out this week, but he's going back into right wing back now if Fofana starts, and the centre back line is fine. It's just he's really good. Study with, he's an XG of 0.57, which is like 6 for defenders overall. So he's taking shots as well as expected assists of 1.4. So he's really good, like, and he's got from game week 6 to 12 great fixtures. I don't see how people are taking him out.
No, it's a bit like those Trent and Robbo moves last week. I think for me, it's like it's not the one. It's not the move. I don't think. But
I think the Robertson one was understandable because the money could facilitate stuff elsewhere. But the Reece James one, his price point isn't something worthwhile trying to, ship out. And like, I don't think he gained much by getting rid of him. Particularly, as we say, he's going to return to his prime position.
Yeah, and if it was just an illness this week, then we're pretty much fine, aren't we, for the weekend? If anything, he's my Perisic replacement. If not him, Cucurella, but I much more fancy him. It's just a matter of I can move the money around elsewhere to bring him in. But yeah, again, it's all it takes is one missing week or one yellow flag, and prices start falling. Like I think what's Robbo now 6.8, I think, in the game. Like 6.5 soon. Like who was the other one? There's a couple of players I've seen like go right down.
Yeah, he's gonna be like
a 4.8 now, I think, or 7 or 6 maybe.
I think he started at 4. Yeah, it must be 4.
He started at 5, and I think he's down to 4.7, 4.8.
4.7, yeah.
If he starts getting games, that suddenly becomes a great option. Like,
yeah. Gareth was saying that he was like thinking, oh, you might just literally watch the market and go, okay, who can I get on the cheap? Who's the trend to get rid of this week? Like, you look like a Bowen, that's another one. Like everyone was like bemoaning him being, I think, 8.5 rather than 8, like a lot of the other similar midfielders. He's basically 8.2 now. Like he's gonna be 8.0 soon. It's just if things keep going the way they're going. So there's advantages to be taken there. But yeah, good couple of weeks for you, Jordan. We'll go to you in a minute for some of your stats on who to shift out and who to shift in. But yeah, before we get there, Jamesy, got your team up next, mate. I think you're probably the happiest of a lot of us. So you're in the lofty heights of the near the top of the GRAPPL League this year.
Yeah, it's been a really good couple of weeks. It has. The fixtures fell in such a way that somehow on both weeks, nearly all my players were playing at home, and especially that first week 4, there were some very nice fixtures. And like, there's nothing majorly noteworthy, I suppose, to point out on the teams because they're players most of us have anyway, so it's hard to kind of pick out talking points. Obviously, Captain Salah in game week 4. Don't regret that for a minute. If I had that choice 100 times, Liverpool at home against the worst team in the league, I will always captain that player. So even though I'm not particularly angry about that decision because everybody captained Salah that week nearly. Like, so it didn't particularly bite me in the ass in any way. The transfer I made that week was Walker out and Perisic in, which worked out quite nicely because Walker only got, I think, 1 point or 2 points and Perisic got a clean sheet. So that, when you make your transfer and it pays off, it's always a nice feeling as well. Yeah. And Diaz, again, you talk about expected ownership and that kind of thing. The player in game week 4 that really pushed me up the ranks was Diaz getting 14 points there. Like that was if you look at if you go onto live FPL and look at the effect of how many places you rise per point per player. I mean, Diaz's was really high on that Saturday. Like, and that I have to say that, like, you wonder why you play this game. And like the crack we had in our group chat on the Saturday when all those goals were flying in against Bournemouth and when there's a Saturday and there was good fixtures. I think City were playing, Liverpool were playing. Chelsea were playing. It was all good fixtures. Everybody seemed to be in the chat, and like that to me is the community. Like you talk about an FPL community, and there's so much was happening. Like Jesus, like you'd go off for a cup of tea or something and come back, and there'd be like 20 messages in the group. Andy would have all the goals and scorers, and it's like.
I were at the football as well, watching the actual games.
Did you say there were lads near you in the crowd talking about
so
FPL?
There were like a group of six young lads behind us who were also looking for FPL scores. Who's got the assist? Who's got the assist? I'm like, Diaz has got an assist or something like that. Oh, it were excellent.
Who's got the assist is the big question, because my first place to check usually is the live score app because it's just the football scores. But it sometimes gives you the assist when it's a normal football assist. But I need to know who the FPL assist was, like who got fouled for the penalty, or whose shoulder did it bounce off for the guy to score and that kind of thing. So then I have to go straight into my Twitter feed and get the actual FPL account itself and give you all the good information,
But they are. You're right. They're the days we play this for, isn't it? Like
absolutely,
I felt like that Tuesday night was a little bit miserable, wasn't it? It was like, there's none of the big hitters are playing tonight, and it was like I remember you saying to us, James, like those first 20 minutes, let's drab this, lads. It's turn around. But there's nothing quite like those days, isn't there? Where especially when it gets to like when it's like last 15 minutes and like things
Yeah.
are flying in and used
Yeah.
pieces are coming from every round. Like, that's the thrill of the game.
Absolutely. And then like this week has gone brilliantly, like 91 points. And Jesus, I'm over the moon about that. Obviously, getting the Haaland captaincy right was the big one there. But like Cancelo, Jesus, like I remember the first week on here, I was actually doubting Cancelo, and I was thinking, will he be as far forward this year? Like he's already in 5 weeks, he's had two returns of over 10 points. My transfer this week was when I heard about the Reece James sickness at the very last minute. I thought, right, let's try and get an advantage here. So I had nothing in the bank. So I sold him and I just bought the best 6 million defender I could find. I could see that City had a nice handy home fixture against Forest. So I said, right, let's see if we can get a double clean sheet out of it. And that worked out nicely. 6 points from Diaz. And actually, one that I'm quite proud of is that I actually picked Andreas Pereira ahead of Trippier, which worked out really well. Like Trippier ended up with 0 points because he conceded and he got a -1 for a yellow card. And Andreas got an assist in their game. Who was it Fulham played? Brentford, yeah.
No,
so
were it Brentford? No,
Brighton.
Brighton. They beat Brighton. Yeah. Great win for them. Like, so like that's twice now. I've had Trippier since day one, and I had kind of singled out the weeks that Newcastle played Man City and the week that Newcastle played Liverpool. I was going to bench Trippier and play Andreas. And as luck would have it, both those weeks, Andreas has got 6 points for me. Like, so that's when you make a little move like that and you take out a so-called better asset and bring in one of your so-called bench fodder and they return, like it's a great out feeling. You know what I mean? And a real sickener, Benno, for us, as Perisic owners, was I was keeping an eye on the live FPL website. After 92 minutes in Spurs' game, Perisic was on 4 points. He was on 2, and he had 2 in the bonus points. And I was thinking, God, like for a 1-1 draw, that's a decent return. You know, next thing pops up on the app, Perisic yellow card, and whatever yellow card does to your bonus points, he completely disappeared from the top 5 in Spurs. It must eat away a load of your bonus points. So he went from 4 points to 1 point in the space of a minute, like, and that's more classic FPL to me. Like, just one silly little thing can cost you 3 points. You know what I mean? So, and like that's how sad I am. That's how closely I'm watching these games. Like, I'm watching the live points for bonus points. Like that's how deep I'm getting into this thing. Like at this point, you know.
It's the reverse of Salah, isn't it? 'Cause it was the other way around with him. Like he literally picked up some bonus points just getting an extra assist. Like they always mess with that formula as to what the magic formula is for bonus points, but
it's a bit dodgy,
there's just certain players that attract it more than others. And Perisic is one of them, mostly overall. That's why he's in all our teams, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, it just goes to show how good he is at the bonus points, that he had done very little in that game as far as I could tell, and still was on 2. You know, so. But yeah, delighted. Like, I mean, I was looking at I'm pretty sure I'm in the top 100k overall now at this point. Like, with it will drop from, I think I'm on 77k, but it'll drop when subs are brought in and that kind of thing. But I'm pretty sure I'll end the week inside the top 100k overall, which, like, Jesus, after 5 games, after 5 weeks, I've never been that high before. Like, so that's pretty good going. Like, so I'm just going to tip away steadily. I'm happy with my team. I don't really have any thoughts about wildcard. This week, my transfer, I'm sweating on. The one mistake I made was I didn't realize that to buy Reece James back, he's actually 6.1. So I don't have the money to get him back for Diaz now. So I think he's going to. I know you were saying Chrissy was due to fall last night, but for whatever reason, he didn't.
He was over 100. Yeah, he was over 100% on the
because then I went back and checked the website I use, and it was the same. But whatever happened, he didn't fall. I'm hoping he does tonight. If he doesn't, it's not the end of the world. I think like City have Villa away. I stick with Diaz for another week and maybe roll the transfer. And Ramsdale is a bit of a problem. I have to check his injury, because if Ramsdale doesn't start, it means Ward coming off the bench, and I don't know if I need that in my team at the moment.
At least it's a guaranteed 1 point, mate. I think that's it's got to go for the rest of the season.
Yeah, but I could use it to free up some funds and maybe sell Ramsdale and bring in a 4.5 player, and then I'd have 0.5 in the bank maybe to play around with. So we'll see.
Frees up an Arsenal slot as well, doesn't it? Gives you a place.
Yeah.
Arsenal.
James is up to minus 117.7 on the fixed app at the moment. So if he didn't drop last night, you'd have thought he'd drop tonight. The only thing would be if they'd frozen his price, but they would have had to have announced that prior. And it's not normally an injury that would make them freeze somebody's price like that. So
is that something they do sometimes? Yeah.
Sometimes if somebody's out for a long time, they'll freeze the price for a while.
Okay.
That sort of thing. But I didn't see any announcement about that sort of thing.
No.
It was odd that he didn't drop last night, but I'd have thought he'd drop
really
tonight.
Strange, yeah. I don't trust those. Like, one of the talking points, especially now that the prices are so all over the place, I really think there should just be something on the official website that you can track. It is becoming a huge part of the game. It is stopping people from making transfers. I don't know why it's not just an open and transparent thing on the website. Like, there's nothing to be gained by keeping it secret from the casual player. It will only keep the casual player more engaged if they understand the process. And I don't know.
It makes no sense, does it?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird one.
Well, because I think in general, like, they've made the prices really low this year. Like, you can, if you're just Joe Casual and you want to dive on and get your 11 favorite players, you pretty much can. And I think that's definitely on purpose because they want people to be engaged. But then on the reverse end of it, you're right. By not being transparent about the price changes, like, imagine how frustrating that is when you don't understand why, Martinelli keeps going up, or you don't understand why you can't afford someone because we've all been in that position, haven't we? You come up with the perfect set of transfers and you're like 0.1 million away. You're always 0.1 million away. That's what you do. It's always the same. But we've all been there, and I don't know. I always thought, I don't know what you think, Chris. Like, a good solution would be to end of the game week do it. Like, even if they're not transparent about what the change is going to be, the changes accumulate through the week, and then with the draft league, Friday's D-Day. Friday's the day. Okay, I've got to make my moves now because everyone is moving. The changes are going to happen then, rather than being forced. Because you're forced, aren't you, to make early transfers in weeks when it's probably not advisable to do it because someone's going up.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, my thought would be if it all takes place at once, the website would crash, like it has done occasionally when people are locking in their teams at 11 a.m., 11:30 a.m.
Even when people have scored loads of goals, like Ireland last night when he scored 2 or 3, both sites crashed, like the main FPL one and live FPL that just went down. Crazy.
Well, that's it. I mean, I doubt that there's 10 million individual people playing FPL. I'm sure people have got numerous teams, or there's bots and stuff that are involved in those numbers. But, there's still in the millions of people playing. So you'd have thought if you want to kind of spread it over, which is probably why they keep the open kind of transfers and that sort of thing. Well, it definitely could be more transparent in terms of the algorithm and when they are officially changing prices over and stuff. They always say, because it doesn't account for wild cards, which obviously I guess could have accounted for some of the James movement, but it doesn't account for various other things that do and don't happen throughout the course of the season. And you'd have thought maybe more people have been bringing in Andreas Pereira, but his price hasn't moved all year, even though he's the best performing 4.5 million midfielder sort of thing.
He is the 12th man, isn't he? He is purely the 12th man. There's no other 12 player.
Yeah, I suppose. Was he in enough teams so that even if more people were bringing in, it means his price didn't change? Unlike De Silva, who was probably 0.01 ownership before the start of the season, scores 2 fluky goals and goes up to 4% ownership or whatever it was. I suppose that understands his. But it's all a bit of a needless faff. I think it could definitely be a bit more open for everybody.
And even just, I don't think people actually understand the pricing, because it really only took me to last season to realize that for every player, there's a buying price and a selling price.
Yeah.
But I didn't cop that for after maybe 2 years of intense playing. It was only then I actually copped it. I was like, okay, right. And that if you hear of a player being gone up to, say if you owned Haaland from the start and he was 12 million when you bought him, and now he's gone up to 12.6 million. If you sell him, you can only sell him for 12.3. A lot of people
I hate that.
I think, yeah, it's, but like, again, that's not very clear to the casual player. And as I said, me, who was super engaged with the game and listening to podcasts and, really thinking hard about it, I only copped that recently. It's only actually when you do something like a wild card and you're playing around with all the people, but you're like, God, okay, like this price thing is actually really, really important,
Yeah, I think last year I killed my team value in my wild card because I'd messed up some transfers, or I made additional transfers halfway because I started this wild card at the start of the week and then saved the transfer and then made other transfers, and then
that's
it just
so depressing when you do
out
that.
like $1 million or so.
Yeah. That's heartbreaking. The first time you do make that mistake, it's so heartbreaking. It's like this fucking 0.8 million just gone there because I clicked save on a transfer instead of just playing around with it. Like,
exactly.
I've done that. Like I did that this week because I was hoarding players, and in my brain I had Perisic in the squad. I was just convinced he was there. Saw his price was rising, just thought that's fine. He's in my squad, and then the next day I realized he wasn't. He was like, I'd lost 0.1 on him, and he'd been in my team before the wild card. It's just, you really, really like it is at that extra level. You gotta pay mind to, but. Yeah, all in all, though, James, you've got to be happy with your last couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
You're flying at the minute. When we have a look at the GRAPPL League, you are. It hurts my eyes to see how high you are up there. But yeah, doing well, mate. And finally we got Andy's team to get up. I'll throw it on the screen now. All out of wild cards and bench boosts and the like, Andy. But it's.
You've got a plod on.
You got that triple captain in your back pocket. You did on the so you had over the 2 weeks, game week 4 and 5, 68 points with your bench boost, and then 62 without. Bench boost didn't live up to your dreams, unfortunately. But you had some points off the bench with your goalie there, and Raya can't sniff too much at that.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised with Ray how many actual points he gets, for saves and that. But up until this year, I didn't really know that were a thing. But no, he's been excellent. I've been toying sort of like with this week, should I put him in because they're against Leeds and like drop Edison to the bench, but think about that for later. Let's get into what I had. Game week 4, Edison the 1 point. Disappointing, I think. James, I were happy with that goal. I did a fist pump when that went in. Nico Williams, yeah, he's still cheap. I think I'm having him in this week because they're against Bournemouth.
I'm probably going to start him this week.
Yeah, because he should hopefully get a clean sheet there. He's had a lot of shots. To say he's playing basically right midfield. You just got to hope 1 or 2 of them will come off for a goal sometime. Alexander Arnold, I were happy I kept him in. I got rid of Cancelo that week, so it's sort of evened itself out there, but happy with that. Salah, it's been discussed. Yeah, what a shit house he didn't get a goal. I could have put them goals in, and I've got 2 left feet. I think it was game week 4. It was just all about the differentials, what I had, and just not performing. Jack Harrison, who's been good for me, he only got the 2. Rodrigo, I probably missed the boat on like his hot spell now.
What was his injury? It was like a dislocated shoulder, was it?
Yes. Yeah. So what he did, he was running across like Pickford, and it was just somewhat innocuous, and he went down. He had the oxygen, and I think he's out for 4 weeks now, which is a bit bad for Leeds. Well, they'll put, I guess, Bamford up front now. Ivan Toney, he did all right on me like 3 hit week, and not done much. But then again, Brentford, I think one of the weeks he had like 19 shots on goal and only scored with 1 of them. So they are an attacking team, but I'm a bit unhappy that he's not been putting the ball in the back of the net. Jesus. He's been a good one, but it's a pointless. You just got to keep him there because everyone's got him. Big Erling. You just got to keep him now. Who on the bench? Andreas. I've not had the bollocks to put him in yet. But he seems to be. Yeah, that's what he's there for. Zinchenko, I was disappointed when I got your message, Benno, that he wasn't in the team on a Saturday evening. I'm like, oh, bloody hell. that's like a clean sheet I thought I would have got.
So
to be honest, Fulham played really well in that game against Arsenal. They've surprisingly done well, Fulham. I'll give them
not
that.
worried about. You were saying that, weren't you, James? You're not worried about them going forward,
Fulham. No, I think I watched the only player I had playing on Tuesday night was Andreas. So again, reasons why we play FPL. I sat down at my cup of tea on Tuesday night and I tuned into Fulham versus Brighton on a Tuesday night. And do you know what? Fulham are a very, very decent team. Like they're decent at the back, good midfield, and like when you have Mitrovic up front. Like, and the thing about Mitrovic is it doesn't seem to matter the quality of opposition. Like he scored 2 against Liverpool. He scored against Arsenal. Brighton were the meanest defense in the league. He scored against them, so he seems to be completely fixture proof. And like, while I am extremely happy with my team and I'm not going to go tearing up the structure, the one player I really am looking at and thinking I'd love to have him in my team is Mitrovic, because he just seems to be completely fixture proof. He is working his socks off. He just seems to be really enjoying playing. Like he didn't enjoy his time in the Premier League last time. I don't think the way they played suited him. I don't think they were giving him the ball in places that he wanted it. They weren't putting the ball on his head, basically. But this season, they're just, the whole entire game plan is get the ball onto Mitrovic's head in situations where he's completely mismatched against someone like a fullback or a smaller defender. And it's really reaping benefits for them, So yeah. Like I of all the promoted teams, the team I would definitely have the most faith in to stay up is Fulham. I think there are worse teams in the league than Fulham for sure.
I think the signing, Dan James from Leeds, on loan, which will be a good little signing for him. Like going forward, Leeds, he was down as like an attacker last year at Leeds. At like a more advanced position. He only got a couple of goals, but he should do well for Fulham.
Speaking of Leeds, does anybody want transfer news?
Oh, go
on, yeah.
So,
get the phone out.
Earlier, Leeds were looking for Bamba Dieng, and he was at the airport ready to go, and Nice called him, and he decided to go to Nice. So he turned up to Nice for his medical. He's failed the medical at Nice. So he's got nowhere to go. I think back to Marseille.
It's another bloody Odin Wingy.
Now I've got to be honest. If I was stood at an airport and my two flight choices were Nice or Leeds, I think I would go with Nice. But maybe that was the thinking. Oh, devastating for them. Oh well. Yeah.
What else? On the game week.
Yeah, about game week 5, Andy. You immediately binned off Zinchenko. You were when you made that move, I thought, I'd be a bit more patient. I stuck with him, and it didn't work out. So I think you made a good call there, even if the replacement didn't do great.
So my replacement initially were Veltman for Brighton. Now at 1:30 on that dinner time, I got my phone out at work and I saying, "Oh crap, Veltman's injured. He's down as like a yellow flag. God, I might have to get rid of him for Lewis Dunk. What a slam dunk of a pick that was! Or -2 Lewis Dunk. Bloody hell! And you know what? And Veltman played, so I got fucked over royally with that. Then the Reece James news come out from Andy FPL that he might not be playing, so I had to pop him on bench. It's like, who do I put in? So I thought, Koulibaly, he's back now. He's in first team. Chelsea had a rotter that evening, so yeah, totally didn't work out. That Tuesday night for fantasy football, I was just like, I give up. I think I give up with this game. Thank God Wednesday come around with Erling Haaland.
There's always another game beat around the corner. That's the way to look at
it. There is. Odegaard had stuck in. Suppose he had a really good game last night, and then he went off. He went off injured. De Bruyne had stuck in for Salah, thinking, well, if Haaland doesn't play against Forest, it'll be De Bruyne who's like more attacking going forward. And I've got Jesus as the vice captain in case Haaland doesn't play. Lo and behold, pet roulette, De Bruyne is on the bench. Oh God, I just can't win there. Rodrigo, as we said, got injured. He's out for 4 weeks, and he's out of my team for probably good. Tony. I watched some of the Palace and Brentford game. 2 really good attacking teams. Then it probably deserved to be a bigger, instead of a 1-1, it should have been a 2-2 or a 3-3. Zaha, I see, returned this week from injury. Nice to see he's scoring. I don't think I can put him back in yet, but I'm happy my tip's working out for some people who followed that. Haaland, legend. Jesus, obviously scored. It's one of them. I wish I can go back to the week where I was 8th in the GRAPPL League and not 126 in the GRAPPL League. It's been a stinker, mate.
I was going to say, Chris and Gareth and Jeff might have been taking you in the corner in the ship and mitre over the weekend, trying to teach you some of the FPL ways. Like, one thing I will say, if you're slipping down, do you think it? I don't know if you noticed this, Chris, but it might be to do with the 20-point hit you took in Gameweek.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that. I was like, when did you play? I was like, did his wild card not register? Just before you said that, I was just like, what is this?
Yeah,
minus 36 points. No wonder you're lower than I am.
It's just because I've been. I don't know if it maybe overthinking it too much.
I think Andy, you've got the soul of a gambler.
I have.
You've got the soul of a gambler, and I think every week you have to have something at stake, whether it's either a minus 20 hit or a chip. There has to be something big on the line for you, Andy. It's the only way you get your kicks. You're used to making money on bets, you see, so that just playing this game for fun is no good to you.
Yeah, but as long as you don't finish bottom, that's the main thing. But it's one of them.
What are you doing next week? What's the plan for Game Week 6?
But for me, a lot of the ones I'm just trying to be. I think we said earlier, like a lot of people are sticking to the same 7-8 players in the team, and I'm just trying to look for something different, and it's just not work. It's just not worked. I'll admit it's not worked. I've only gone for -8 this week. I'm just sticking to that.
Conservative.
Brilliant. It's a quiet week.
Amazing.
What's the -8?
The -8. Just let me look. So,
because the thing is, go on.
So I've stuck. I've got rid of Koulibaly. I put Ivan Perisic in.
He might not play.
Might not play, but he might do. Who knows? And I'd put what's his face in. Got rid of Odegaard and put Lucas Paqueta in. From West Ham.
Oh yeah.
I seen his record at his previous club, and he's got quite a few goals for a attacking midfielder. He come on midweek, played 25-30 minutes, and he'll look to be one of their main players. So it's just see how I go. I'm just leave it at that. Stay off it.
Chris's face is a picture. I'm loving this.
He's actually offended by all this.
West Ham are away at Chelsea, by the way, Chris. Just to throw that in there. Just to have another thing to the player.
No, but Chelsea are not no great shakes, are they, at the moment?
So who's the third transfer?
Rodrigo, I presume.
I have put someone else in. Sorry, I got rid of Rodrigo and put what's it called? I think Harrison are another midfielder in, but they're the three.
The problem is, you take a 20-point hit, you need 2 of those players to get you 10 points each at limit, even just to get even.
It's just. But if you look at that 20-point hit week, it's hoping that it's the Salah week, and he only gets 6 points. You'd expect a 20-point return off that.
But you had Salah going into that week.
Gonna say, yeah.
No, I sort of with that that week beforehand. I'd had 2 injured defenders, like, out for a few weeks, so I had to like change them around, and then it's just not out with like the red and yellow flags.
I think they're the least of your worries, mate.
But I mean, even if Odegaard, because you had one free transfer, Koulibaly didn't need to go. Realistically, he's perfectly fine as an asset. Odegaard could maybe play, probably won't, but Andreas would come on. Rodrigo could be your free transfer, and then even if somebody doesn't play, you've got Neco Williams off the bench. So for me, you've kind of taken needless 8 points hit there. I mean,
Gambler?
Yeah, ideally. I mean, last year I don't think I even took more than 4 or 5 -4s. I kind of try and stay away from them, but because
I took none up until COVID. I literally took no hits, and then when those mad COVID cancellations started, I did have to take a few, but I felt like they were justified because it was such a bizarre time like this.
Yeah,
we could take
I
it,
think,
and then,
and
then there was double game weeks.
Well,
So like there was some double game weeks I took like -8. I think there was a -12 one week, but they totally paid off because those players are playing 2 games, and it was like I made 12 points on that when you look at who I had in the team and that kind of thing. But yeah, I feel like you're like a gambler you're a gambler chasing losses, Andy.
I know.
Chris asking in the chat to be sure the Hungarians haven't hacked Andy's brain.
Because the car keys are going to go on the table next now. He's going to bet those on.
Because you've got to think, if you pull up your week 3 team at some point, and your team is going to have picked up 36, 40 to 4 points.
So my game week
over
3,
the course of
my game week 3 team, who had an absolute rotter that week, he were only 45 points. So it was Edison. And I had Reece James, Cucurella, I got chucked off. I thought, oh, God, terrible. Cancelo, he were a 0. Back at Bukayo Saka, who hadn't done bugger all. Jesse Lingard, who were in there, who's done nothing. Who else were in? Oh, I had IWC De Silva.
But even if
all this was a week after you've done your wild card.
Yeah.
So this was the free hit week.
All right, we'll that
got like 45. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we just need to take your password off your Andy, because I think like that's the thing. Like De Silva could be sat there getting a point a week. He's not getting -20 though, is he? It's like we'll talk about it.
It's almost like you need an extra game week to try and pull back all the points you've already taken hits of. So
to be honest, with all like the points, I would have been, if I didn't use my hits. Like I still would have been in like 80th place in the GRAPPL league. There
you go. You see,
it's not.
Patience is the key.
Yeah,
like Jordan, without not used his wild card. Still got the same team still believing in Neto, and he's flying.
Yeah. Well, 1 week it'll pay off, Andy. You'll come on here, you'll have a 150-point score off a 30-point hit, and we'll all be like, you know what?
Like I told
Fair
you.
play.
At this point, you might as well
be worth it for the buzz, the gambler's buzz.
Yeah.
At this point, you might as well become one of those people that just tries to be the highest point scorer in a game week and just transfers in everybody from the early game or something, and just
that's it. Go for that game week win.
Yeah.
I respect it, Andy. Respect it.
Absolutely.
A gambler there. But that's
keep going,
that's
Andy.
our
Don't
team.
listen to them. Just keep going. You play.
I will do.
Usually the devil on your shoulder and encouraging you to go.
It's great content more than anything else. This is brilliant.
Just don't do what we do. That's all I'm saying. Nobody take any lessons from this. Although I will say, Andy, you were absolutely right about Saka. You haven't followed your own advice, but you were right about him as an asset. I heard you singing his praise before any of the pundits. Zaha. Sorry, Zaha. Before any of the pundits were, you were on it, mate. So more of that. But it'll pay off 1 week.
It will do.
But yeah, I was going to say, as far as like plans going forward, I know Jordan and Chris, you both had some stats and some thoughts. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, if anybody wants Rodrigo replacements, I have some listed here.
Interesting. Okay, what are we looking at?
How much is Rodrigo first?
Oh Christ, that would have been a good idea. To check that one.
6.4. 6.4.
6.4.
Andy knows he's transferred it in and out.
So the best bet, but probably the most expensive one, is Zaha. I'd say 4 goals from 4 starts and a 2.87 expected goals. That's first among midfielders. 5 big chances and 10 shots inside the box so far. And he's basically nailed on every week, because who else are Palace going to play? Like, they don't play Champions League football, they don't.
I know Europe, yeah.
Yeah. I'd say my second one would be Gross for 5.9. He's the second highest score midfielder, only behind Rodrigo. He's got 37 points so far. And his next 3 fixtures are pretty good. He's got Leicester, Bournemouth, and Palace, and they're pretty poor defensive records.
Right.
And then Sinistera, I'd probably be my bet anyway. I like him. He's got 6.5 million. He's got a goal in his first game there. He got a goal in the League Cup. And then he's Rodrigo's replacement in the Leeds team. So that's where he got. They've Brentford and Forest.
Everyone kind of looked at him like Rodrigo as like Rafinha 2.0, but yeah, you know, his place is not guaranteed as it going forwards. Like that could, obviously, you know, injury aside, that could easily change.
Jordan, what do you think of Harvey Elliott as an option?
He's good, isn't he? But there's so many people in that Liverpool team that can score goals. Diaz, Salah. Probably, yeah, he's good for an assist, maybe.
I think he's only like 5, and I think he was about 5 and a bit million on the game.
I have him in the draft, and I think he's 1 return so far. But like, I'd be worried for him now. Like they're signing this guy Arthur from Juventus.
Yeah, he's been signed tonight. Yeah.
So like when you think about Fabinho, if they've 3 places in midfield, Fabinho is probably fairly nailed as one of them. Then you're down to 2 places when you think they've Jordan Henderson, Thiago when he comes back from injury, Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones,
Jota,
this new chap. You know, that's a lot of players for 2. Like I'm probably going to be getting rid of Harvey Elliott from the draft team in the next couple of weeks, I'd imagine. Because I brought him in as a punt when I knew he'd be playing, but I think I'd be getting rid of him fairly quickly now. I think the starts are going to start drying up, unfortunately.
If anybody's looking for a player around that price of 5.5 to replace Rodrigo, I'd say Aronson. He's got a goal and assist so far, and then I'd say when Bamford comes back now, they pair up nicely, I think.
Yeah, that could work out well. Chris Elliott's saying he's going cheaper. He's looking at possibly McAllister for 5.5.
Yeah.
Seeing he's on it.
McAllister's on penalties, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of options around that price bracket.
Gibbs White is another one for Forest, but they have so many forwards that he might not get game time maybe if he doesn't perform.
Do you know who's having a sneaky good season is Granit Xhaka for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Now most people already have 3 Arsenal players, so it probably won't be any interest. But I think he's only 5 million, and I couldn't believe he's on something like 24 points already. So I think he's playing much higher up the pitch this season. Doesn't have an awful lot of competition for his place at the moment. So if you only have 2 Arsenal players, like 5 million for a player who's playing currently in the best team in the league, you know.
I got him in the draft. I think the problem is it's an Arsenal slot, isn't it? Because like there's got
and
to
most
be
people have 3
mostly
already,
3 better options.
Yeah.
So I can't. But in the draft league, it was like he was free and open. Nobody had him. I got him out of free agency. It was like he's going to tick over. He's not your typical FPL player that's going to get 15 points a game, but he's gonna be involved.
Player,
The
red cards are the big danger, I suppose. You never know with him when he's going to get sent off. Like,
well, he kind of popped up because of Micah Richards randomly, because Micah Richards is doing bits with Scout this year, and he brought Xhaka in, and he was like, well, I was looking at all the stats and stuff, and you're like, where he plays now, he plays much more advanced. He's getting more involved with the attacking stuff, and he hasn't got the defensive responsibilities when Zinchenko's on the pitch, so he's not getting those yellow cards that he used to get quite often, which led to his like reds and stuff. Because he was always good for 2 bookings. He was never like a straight red merchant too much, from what I remember. But I do kind of feel that once Arsenal kind of get tougher games, the Zinchenko Xhaka role is going to because JP and I were saying last week, they kind of rotate when they're playing on the pitch. If one goes forward, one stays back, but they kind of playing without a left back. Now that they're getting into the tougher fixtures, they'll probably start playing a left back in Tierney more, and then Xhaka and Zinchenko will basically be playing for that same role, sort of thing, more likely, particularly in the harder fixtures. So it's an interesting one. But in the same way with Harvey Elliott, I think you've got better options in those teams to kind of go with. They're good draft picks, I kind of think. I mean, I've said Harvey Elliott's been decent all year long because he's a former Rovers loanee and stuff, and on that right hand side, he does look he fits in quite well with Trent and Salah. But, yeah, I can't really see him as an option when you've got so many other players ahead of him at Liverpool.
You've still got Pascal Gross in there at 5.9. He keeps somehow scoring and what have you. And Brighton's got good fixtures coming up, even though they had the blip in midweek. And I've seen on the team lineups, he's always down as a forward.
Yeah, he's basically a striker this year. I can throw up his heat maps if people want to see that. I've got that loaded up.
Yeah, go for it. Well, it ties into a question, it ties into what we're talking about. Like Jamie was saying in the chat there, he's considering should he start Neto against Bournemouth, Martinelli v Man U, or Gross versus Leicester. It feels obvious to say Martinelli, but I feel like Gross against that Leicester defense. The thing about Gross is I don't trust that over the season he's going to keep this up. But while he's in this little burst of form and he's Ward's in goal opposite him. I quite like Gross at the minute.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if you can... Neco Williams as well there.
Yeah, Neco Williams is...
he's going to get a big haul at some point because he plays up and down the line. He plays so high up. And we know how bad Bournemouth are. There will be some week when everyone will have Neco Williams sitting on their bench and he'll get 15 points. And if he can catch the week that happens, you'll be flying,
Well, Bournemouth are making the big signing this evening of Nathan Redmond from Southampton. So.
Oh, there we go. The window has lapsed up, by the way, the last few minutes.
I think FPL Andy made the point on one of his... Was it FPL? I think it was. On one of his videos today. It's you might want to... Well, Neco Williams might be a good idea to go against Bournemouth. Bournemouth will definitely be looking at Forest going, we can have a go here. Because they're the two teams that are going to be thinking that,
true.
They're the 6-point games already. So, Neco could haul in that. But Bournemouth looked a lot tighter defensively last time out, didn't they? So we'll see how it goes. In terms of Pascal Gross, he's overperforming his XG, while his XA. So his expected assists are pretty much bang on. Obviously, the goals has probably gone up because he is playing in a more advanced position. You can see on the screen. He's getting down the right wing quite a lot, quite that final sort of third position sort of thing. So the new role for him with Malpe, was it? I don't think he left in the end, did he, Neil Malpe? But
no, he did. He went.
Did he go in? Okay, right. Yeah, okay.
So, well, they couldn't get the transfer through because of Bank Holiday Monday.
That was weird. Yeah, it wasn't a working day or something like that, so they wouldn't give his visa.
Okay. Yeah. So, but you would expect that sort of thing to go on. So, I guess the XG might be based off his previous information. So the new goals might be the newer end of the scale for him, sort of thing. And he took his goal last game week. I can't remember which game week he scored in, but it was a really good finish. So yeah, you can definitely expect a bit out of him. As you can see on there, his assists quite high as well. What we've got crosses, 3 balls, 0.7 per game, crosses 0.6. So yeah, you're looking at probably getting a goal or assist involvement every 0.6 games. So probably get one every 1 or 2 games. And looking forward, we've got Leicester, Bournemouth, Palace. So I think they're 3 games you could definitely, 3 games you could definitely target, and then probably get him out for Liverpool, Spurs. So if you've got
not another -4 for me.
Well, I mean, if you've got Andreas or somebody on the bench, I assume
Andreas is home to Newcastle that week, so that's a perfect week to play Andreas.
Yeah. So was it 7? Was that 9? Yeah, 9. So
yeah,
Fulham,
So,
Newcastle, and then Fulham, West Ham, which isn't that bad. So yeah, you could do Andreas on the bench, swap him in with Pascal Gross after night. I mean, most people, probably nobody on this show, but people will probably be wildcarded around 8 or 9 anyway, because that's when the international break is. I think it's after 8. So yeah, I mean, you could just get ship of him at that point anyway. But yeah, certainly a good option at that sort of price point. Who else did we say? Brendan Aronson was somebody else.
Aronson.
Nothing on the stats is really indicating that he's going to be in the same level as Pascal Gross. As a very small sort of expected everything, really. And then what they got: Brentford, Forest, Man United, Villa, Palace. So it's not the worst run in the world, but I didn't really trust Leeds last year, and I wouldn't really trust them this year.
It's once the injuries mount up with Leeds. That's what did him in last season.
Yeah. So wouldn't be the one I'd look at, and then that's just Harvey Elliott. Probably not really worth it. I mean, that's just kind of like a much smaller sample size of Mo Salah's heat map is kind of in the exact same areas, but much better in the expected stuff. So yeah, probably not one to really. If you're in a draft league, he's probably one to kind of try and keep a hold of.
Who's got him at the minute in our draft? I don't think I've seen him in one team. Oh, do you have him, James?
Yeah, I nabbed him there after the United game, maybe, or before the United game. He's one return so far, which is fine. But the thing about him is he's occupying the parts of the pitch where Salah and Trent are. So his job is pretty much to facilitate those two guys, rather. Like, he's not going to be the guy from that position where you see him where he is in the heat map. He's in that position all the time, but he's not the guy putting the ball into the box from that area. He's giving it to Trent, who's then putting it in the box from there, or he's giving it to Salah, who's then carrying it into the box. So he's kind of he's making the pass before the assist, which in FPL is
assist and the assist.
Yeah, he's doing that an awful lot. So that's no good in FPL, Great player though, really good player to watch, I have to say.
It is one for you, not on midfielders, but I see Darwin's back in it for Liverpool. Do you think they'd put him straight back in against Everton because it's a volatile fixture and with his hot head?
I don't think they'll start.
I don't think so. No, I don't think you could trust him.
And Firmino was playing really well as well. So why would you drop Firmino at the moment? He's absolutely flying the last 2 games.
Yeah, that's the issue, isn't it? I don't know. Like, I'm tempted by Gross at the minute. He's based on those stats, he's definitely a possible transfer coming in for me. Sterling is another one. I've been obviously completely different price bracket to what we're talking about there, but like, if I can find the money, and this year isn't the worst year to be able to find money, I quite fancy him. It's a silly that there's a 10 million differential out there, and it's Raheem Sterling, but like, don't see him in many squads right now, do you? Like he's someone I'm definitely considering.
I think if you're coming in off a wild card, I think it's obviously easier to try and get him in there, because otherwise you're looking at dropping. You're going to have to kind of either get rid of Salah, Haaland, De Bruyne, or whomever to try and facilitate getting him into the squad. But yeah, if you're looking for a differential, he seems to be fitting into that Chelsea team quite well. Not getting those sort of like his goals were both from outside the box, weren't they, last time round? I think, if I remember that right. But I think
he's tough to watch because it feels like he blows a lot of good chances, but like he's also like, when he does score, I kind of like rooting for him. Like, it's just because he's got that rep, hasn't he? Of having having that end product, and he starts to if he's putting that together for Chelsea, then I get he could break the game even. We need to play like
the
that.
thing is, you could easily just get, once the Chelsea back line sorted out, a load of assists from Reece James, where he's just sending it across the 6-yard box and Sterling's tapping it in, and then from the other side you've got Cucurella or Chilwell. It could be that setup with the wing backs bombing down could easily provide a lot of those sort of finishes that Sterling used to get at City. So Yeah, I don't think it's a bad shout. He seems to be playing a lot out on the left wing at the minute. But yeah.
Do you have Robbo, Benno?
I don't. I got rid of him before the wild card.
Right. Yeah. So I was thinking if I had him and I was looking to make money, say if I had an 8 million midfielder and I wanted to get the extra 2 million to go up to someone like Sterling, I'd be kind of losing patience with Robbo at this stage. And if you could downgrade him to someone who's maybe 5 or 4.5, someone like if you could downgrade him to Fofana or something like that, and then use that money to upgrade your 8 million midfielder to Sterling, that's kind of the way to go. Maybe something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I'm even looking at Trent, but like again, they're playing Everton at the weekend, so it's not happening. No time soon. It's more with them. It's like, it doesn't feel like clean sheets are reliable, but like, yeah, it's still Trent, isn't he? As we were saying last week, he's still gonna tick over with big points, and yeah, the fixtures aren't such that I can justify it. Yeah, but there's that. Like, I could even go full Maverick. There could come a point. We talk about Liverpool, like. Could there be an argument for well, there's 3 Liverpool assets that aren't Salah that you could end up going with, and if Salah is ticking over and doing what he's been doing these last few weeks, is he going to be that much different from Jota, from Darwin, who is so much cheaper? There's going to be that temptation, isn't it, to play with that money? It's probably going to be a fool's errand because at the end of the day, it's like the greatest FPL player of all time. But I could see being tempted to do something with that money.
Yeah. If you know you're going to captain Haaland nearly all the time, then suddenly Salah at 13 million isn't as powerful an asset as he was, because like at the start of in game week 1 when you brought in Salah, you probably had it in your head that 75% of the time he's going to be my captain, and that's where the value is, and that's how he shoots you up the table in your league if he's double points all the time. If he's playing, he's not like Salah's not playing badly. Salah's playing like a normal, very good player now.
Yeah.
But like, can you live without a normal, very good player if he's not going to be your captain for a few weeks even?
If you're not captaining him, that's the question.
It is viable. It's not the crazy thought it would have been, say, in game week 1. You know what I mean? It is definitely something to think about for people for sure. And if you sell him, like say you drop to Sterling from him, that's 3 million you have in your pocket straight away. And what can you do around your team with 3 million? You could go 3 really good strikers probably at that point. You know what I mean? Like you could probably have Haaland, you could probably have Jesus, you could probably get Nunes as well or something like that.
That's the thing. It's not 1 for 1, is it? Once you bring that amount of money, you can upgrade 2 or 3 different players. And
could you cover him with Diaz and Nunes or something like that?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Or Diaz and Kane, couldn't you?
Kane, even Salah to Kane is 1.5 million.
I think is it simply FPL is doing that this year? He's gone without Salah all the time so far and stuck with Diaz to cover him on
James
the
has Planet FPL. No.
Yeah.
But I mean, Salah's underlying stats are basically what Salah's underlying stats always are. It's just that he hasn't had the returns yet. So, as we were saying previously with players that are over exceeding their XG or the XA or whatever, it will return to the norm eventually. So at some point, Salah will get back to where he is. Those shots will start going in as you would expect, and suddenly, he's hauling in a similar way that Haaland is. So it's as you say, if you can cover those points elsewhere and then potentially exceed them, then it is possible, I suppose. But it's the Trent Alexander-Arnold thing again, isn't it? It's just like how willing are you to go that far against the norm?
It's picking your moments. It's like I was saying last week. It's like Trent and Salah and Bowen last year is the best. Bowen's the best example. 5th highest scoring player in the game. In theory, you'd want all 5 of them. But if you had them all season, if you had the top 11 scoring players from last season in your team all year, you wouldn't win FPL. You'd probably you'd be somewhere in the middle of the pack. It's getting on the players at the right times, and it's taking those risks at the right times. And arguably, these last few weeks has been the time to go against Salah. If you could have done something.
The moment might be gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we turned that around.
3 weeks ago might have been the time to do it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But again, it takes a brave man.
Yeah, because you basically want to be proactive, not reactive, isn't it? That's the kind of the way I see it with transfers as well. The problem is I'm like on transfers, I've got myself into a mire where I'm reacting to something every week, which is never where the point that you want to be. You want to be proactive so that you've got 2 free transfers, you can use 1 because you're building towards something each week, and then you can, you don't have to spend points when you want to make 2 transfers in a game week or whatever, because you're already put yourself in a position to, look at the, kind of see the landscape sort of thing. But it's.
But if we're in a season where people are burning transfers, like this is the year to do it, maybe. And we're in a season as well, Chris, like where everyone else's price is changing. Salah's not going up. Salah usually is going up by now, but he's not.
Yeah, that's true.
The people who have him, and the people who don't I think they've set out their stall to not have him, and are happy, and probably reasonably happy with that shout so far. I think
Yeah.
It's working out well.
I mean, just looking at Salah's and Haaland's stats, I'll throw them up while we're just on the top.
Yeah, go ahead. And then we got a special guest who's about to join us to help us with our captaincy shouts.
So we've got. So that's Salah, and you can see like the big point here. This let me get to the right screen. Chances creating over a chance a game. His touches in the box, which is always quite important. It's getting up towards full on there. It's just not coming off for him with the goals and stuff. You see, like his expected points a game at 6, and he's over that. So he is overperforming, sort of thing. He's due a goal every other game, due an assist every other game. But as you're saying, it's not really what you expect out of Salah. And then Everton and Wolves next couple of games, which you'd expect it to kind of get back on track. And then so if you look at Salah's heat map, very red down the right hand side of the as you'd expect it, up until about the penalty box sort of thing. And then you've got Haaland, who is basically just blue. Just it doesn't really get a lot of touches anywhere. A couple of red bits around the goal, which is,
it's hilarious.
Just like a lot of his goals have come, from the
back post, basically.
It's Gary Lineker, in it.
But his stats are all completely the other side. So it's like he's not
no
creating
grasses whatsoever.
He's not creating chances. He's not expected to do assists and stuff. But the goals, 1.4 goals a game is expected. So he's at least to score every game. Over a chance and a half per game, sort of thing. Expected to be on 9.5 points a game. He's returning 11.6. Due 1.8 goals a game. Well, scoring 1.8 goals a game, and he's due 1.24 sort of thing. So, he's breaking the game at the minute. Yeah, and then you've got Villa next.
When's he got Bournemouth?
Game week 25 away at Bournemouth. Yeah, so we'll see how that one goes. But it'll be an interesting run. I think Southampton at home to Southampton game week 10 could be another big shout.
I don't see a game week there where I'm not captaining, which again, just a theory, not advice. Lends credence to. Well, I'm not going to captain Salah, so I can see myself doing it in a couple of weeks and immediately rage transferring him back in. Again, not advice, just a stupid theory. I've got a stupid thing I might do at some point, but
the other thing, the thing we're sitting here also saying. Salah's not having as good a season as usual. He's on 6 points per game. And if you multiply that out by 38, that's over 200 points, which is that's an outstanding. See, like the amount of FPL players over the years who make it over 200, it's a really difficult thing to do. So like even now at the moment, not playing well apparently and fluking assists, he's still on for like an outstanding season by that would make him in the top 3 players in the game by the end of the season if he keeps that up even, so
definitely.
While we're talking about going against him, it also has its perils,
Definitely. Well, to help us make this call, and I bet you he's been laughing to himself as we go through some stats here and talk about Mo Salah and those kind of things.
Hello,
you're an FPL podcaster now, Matthew. Welcome on the
mate, I mean, this
IWC,
is true,
Matthew.
This is Wales colliding, man. This is everything just smashes together, isn't it? What's going on here? But no, it ties in well because I've just been listening to talk about Salah. I've captained him since week 1, and I ain't changing. He stayed me captain all season. Now, that's like it's
not
just
tempted by Haaland.
No, he's not in me. He's not in me normal team, is he? So no, I'm just I'm sticking to my guns. First season, I'm not going to do that many big crazy decisions. I'm going to stick to it. I don't know if that's good or you'll tell me if that's good or bad. But I'm a shitbag, basically.
Nothing wrong with that, mate. Look, if he's going to take over and he's going to get you points, you can't argue. Are you finding your first proper season playing FPL?
Yeah, as I say, like I what I told you before it, or was it you, Ben? I was speaking to you. It's like I love the idea of it because I'm in it with all yous. I am taking more care of it. You know what I mean? I'm looking at it more, and not as much as you guys. Like totally, definitely not. But I'm definitely keeping a close eye on it. But I love the draft, boys. I fucking love that. Like I look forward to that every weekend. Like.
Oh, I know the reason you're on here is to.
We're
not there yet. We'll get
Who
there.
did you play this weekend, Matty?
This weekend.
It doesn't matter.
I'll come on to that, James. You don't you worry about that, mate.
Yes. But yeah, you're with us, mate. You're in the IWC. We're about to just go into quickly, like captain shouts or any other burning transfers. People are going to make. We know your answers, Salah, mate. Away at Everton as well. Early kickoff Saturday.
Well, do you know what that
Obviously
is, though, Ben, as well? It's because I know you say he's still getting his points and stuff, but like obviously the 9 goals against Bournemouth and he wasn't on the score sheet. The other night, he's due a goal. He's due a big game, and what better game to knock a couple in than against Everton at Goodison Park? You know what I mean? So I'm sticking with him for that. Like
early kickoff not scare you?
No, come off that. No, as I say, though, I'll miss the second half. I can only watch the first half. I'm gutted, you know, Ben.
The funniest was after that Liverpool 9-0, I was driving through town and the Bournemouth coach went past me like with like a police escort. I was just looking. I think there's some miserable fellas on that, and that is a long coach. They weren't going to the train station; they were going through town to the south of Liverpool. They were driving home. Like that is a long journey on a Saturday night.
But did you see Parker on there? But then with that, what was it 1,400 quid Tom Brown card? I don't know. No need for that, was there at all?
We love that, didn't he? I love the way people found that online.
Oh, mate, 1,400 quid though.
Anybody got any big transfer moves or captaincy shouts? Is it all Salah all across the board, or all Haaland across the board? I think I'm leaning Haaland at the minute, depending on team news. Anybody want to be brave?
You go with Ireland for the next easily 3 weeks, wouldn't you? You got Villa, Wolves, Tottenham. There's always goals in that game. Man U have come into form suddenly, haven't they? Gone from bottom of the league to the top 6. Mad. You'd stick with Ireland all the way through, wouldn't you? Definitely. No one else.
I might go Salah this weekend, in fairness.
Might go for it.
Yeah. It's the thing of like 90 minutes versus if Haaland comes off the bench.
Yeah.
And again, Haaland come off the bench and score a hat-trick, but it's just time, you know.
I sniff an opportunity with Salah. I think
he's going to come good at some stage. He has to.
Everyone will flock en masse to Haaland this week, which suddenly makes Salah in a fixture that he traditionally does really well in as well. Like he's put Everton to the sword plenty times over the years, you know. So it's a chance, you know. Everton are struggling badly away from home, early kickoff. You know, be nice feeling on Saturday afternoon before the 3 p.m. kickoffs if you're sitting on Salah on 15 points with all those games we played already, wouldn't it? You know.
That's so Jamesy.
How would you feel about me, Matty, if I captain Salah and I'm silently there watching that derby, secretly happy?
You don't care about Everton, Benno.
I don't. I really.
At least you said it, Jamesy, not me.
He says it himself.
It's absolutely the best ever, you know, Ben. Honestly, you watch like the footy for just like wanting points of that. I love it. It's just I fucking love it, you know. Yeah.
There was like a little part of the Evertonian that came out of me like tail end of last season, you know, got wrapped up in it, like, you know, Lampard trying to keep us up and stuff like that. But yeah, FPL's the most important.
It took nearly going down for you to get behind them, man. That's what it is, fucking hell.
I've got mates like Blues who literally won't sign in Liverpool players in FPL, and like that's just not a tactic you can play in FPL. You know, as much as like we'll joke about taking Salah out, like you can't go full seasons without Trent, Robbo, and Salah. It's not happening.
I had to put a lot of biases aside when I started taking the game seriously. There was a lot of things that I had to just say, you know what, you're going to have to pick 3 Liverpool players here. You're going to have to start hoping that Trent Alexander-Arnold does well and stuff like that. Because if you play the game with bias, you're fecked. Like, you really are. And it actually, it makes you a more positive football fan in a way, because I actually like everything in my football fandom should hate Man City and despise them, but at least I can sit here now and actually enjoy Erling Haaland to some extent and actually see the good in him, and not actually imagine resenting Erling Haaland. Like, how shit away would that be? Like, imagine being disgusted every time Erling Haaland scores a goal. Like, that would be a miserable existence, because you're looking at 40, 50 times a season. Like, so at least now I can kind of get some pleasure in him scoring goals. Like, so that's why FPL is a very good thing.
Can I just ask a quick one? Did any of us predict that he wouldn't do well before the beginning? Did anyone go with that like notion that he wouldn't do well, Haaland?
I didn't know who he was, so.
Sorry, Ben, when I ask these open questions, I'm not talking to you, mate. Sorry.
I think when Matty with the charity shield, I think they put a doubt in my mind. Yeah. Because he missed like 2 or 3 chances that evening, and then like
I think he done that on purpose, you know. I know. Yeah. No, but it's just these people. I see, like, obviously not FPL guys. These, you know, like them, like the true Geordie people of the world. That them pundits who got their own channels, and that Rory guy from, was it the Chelsea channel? He said he wouldn't score 15 goals. I think something like that. He said he's nearly there already. What are you on about?
Actually, those guys make money from having ridiculous takes like that, don't they? Like, that's
that's
their whole reason to exist. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an absolute monster.
It's like Benno on GRAPPL and the GRAPPL Spotlight on Monday night. Hot takes are how you make your money, isn't that right, Benno?
Yeah, if I'm doing well in the Discord, then I'm doing well overall, you know.
Haaland's been so good. There was a little bit where everyone was kind of like, oh, coming in from the German league, so, you know, how good is it going to translate this, that, the other? But he was doing it in the Champions League against, you know, the top tier of Europe. So, you know, you should have thought it should transcend. And then, you know, it'd be, I mean, I'm hopeful to get down to the Etihad for a couple of the Champions League games this year, actually, and see him in the flesh, sort of thing. Because I think he'll be well up for that Dortmund game. So, you know, tempted to try and get down for that one.
I think he'll get 40. Like, you know, I think he might get 40 in the Prem. I said that, like, you know, jokingly even, but now it's looking like if he continues the way he's playing with 2s and 3s every week, he could easily get 40.
Yeah, it could be. I'm really interested to see how defenses are going to change.
Try and work him out,
I wonder if they're going to just do like a sitting defensive midfielder that just stays on him all game, sort of thing. You know, like they did with Reece James on Heung-min Son, the Chelsea Spurs game, sort of thing. Maybe you're just going to take your best defender and just put him on him and go, everybody else is just going to have to play, you know, more man to man sort of thing. And this, you know, and your best defender is going to have to mark him and try and stay near him. Or who's going to be the first one to take him out of the knee? You know, just be like,
the only thing that'll stop him is an injury.
But Rudiger's gone, and either someone like that who like will just like throw one in, as you say, Chris. It's that's what you got to do for him, mate.
Need to get Roy Keane back. Do him like he did his old lad.
Well, this is the thing. It's such a shame that there's not a Roy Keane son in the Premier League at the same time. So it'd be like in what was the Creed? Be like, you know, Creed versus Drago or something. You know, it's just run that back.
But it's going to be interesting if, like, if they're on the pitch at like they're on the pitch now, Sky, aren't they? If like they do them player interviews and Haaland comes over and has to do one with Keane and that. I don't know if they've squashed it before, there's still hates it there or what. It'd be interesting, won't it, to see if he actually like acknowledges him or stuff like that. I love it. I love these interviews now on the pitch. It's great. Love it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what it is. Very right in the mix now. Love it.
Just a quick one. Cannon Fodder asks in the chat, so if anyone's got an answer, what's more essential? Doing Robertson and Rodrigo to James and Zaha, or doing Rodrigo to a 5 million mid and a 4.5 attacker to Mitrovic?
I go the James Zaha option myself.
Do you reckon?
The 5 million midfielder is going to be a bit of a lame duck, whereas James and Zaha are both really good assets.
The ceiling's high, isn't it, if you go with them too, I think. Would you reckon, Chris?
So.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I guess it kind of depends who else. If those people are just going to end up on the bench. What was it, Rodrigo? 5 million at 4 point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it depends who else is on in front of them. But in terms of that swap, I like Robertson and Rodrigo to James and Zaha. I think. Yeah, I'd go the first route, but yeah, it's.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a lot of like because presumably that 5 million midfielder there isn't playing, but then the 4.5 attacker into Mitrovic does. It's like gaining an extra player, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is the only thing I'd say there.
What's if Cameron Fodder's still watching? What's his team ID?
Send it over. Chris will have a little.
I'm going to say with the 4.5 million attackers, there's a couple more gone transferred to like Championship clubs. Like Dervisoglu from Brentford's gone to Burnley, so you're running out of options on 4.5s now. Plange went as well. Yeah, he was one.
Stansfield at Fulham, I think he's still getting some chances. But yeah, if that person's got their team like okay, 4-9, 7-8-2-3.
Have a little look, see what you think, Chris. But yeah, I don't know. I do think I like that first move there. But yeah, okay, so it is. We got the screen.
Yeah.
There we go. But I definitely think like there's going to be a trend where we've all kind of been leaning on having, and I'll move that over. Having the starting 11, not worrying about the bench, but I don't know. I think there's going to be a trend more to having those cheaper players as your 12th and 13th player.
I'm just trying to figure out which screen my mouse is on. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Right, so
yeah, you'd move it'd get rid of Plange, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Plange and Rodrigo. No.
Yeah. See, if you've got Jesus and Haaland up top,
you don't need to put one up front.
Yeah, I don't think you need the third there.
He's also got Trippier on the bench, so he kind of has 12 starters there anyway.
Yeah, so you just put
the 5 million midfielder won't matter that much because they'll be bench most of the time anyway.
Yeah, you put Trippier.
You'd have Trippier in most weeks anyway, you know.
Yeah.
So like Mitrovic, you're basically gaining Mitrovic there, and
you're
gaining a sub, and you're getting Mitrovic. So you'd have a front three of Jesus, Mitrovic, Haaland. Which again, as I said, the one player I wish I had out of all players that I don't is probably Mitrovic. So can't argue with that either, to be honest.
And they've got Pascal Gross as well, so that's a good differential to quite a lot of teams.
Although Andreas is in the team there, so he'd probably be.
You can go forward swapping Gross and Andreas, as we were saying a little earlier.
And whoever
good
the
options,
midfielder is.
Yeah. I mean, so we're dropping Robertson, and who was the second one? Sorry, Rodrigo.
Rodrigo, yeah.
So that would mean you'd be playing James or Trippier most of the time. But then Plange isn't going to get you anything. So you could then get Mitro in there, and then you're still swapping those two over, and then that becomes a dead spot. Going for the Mitrovic one isn't that bad of an idea as long as you're okay swapping over Gross and Andreas.
Becomes old school FPL, and doesn't it? Remember those days when you had the squad of 15 players that you'd have a headache about who you start each week, you know? Yeah, remember them? I like that. Yeah, I like Mitro.
Yeah, the Mitro move isn't because you're getting ahead of the curve because Mitro's games do change in a couple of weeks. So if you're okay swapping him and out while the games are a little difficult. And then once those games hit, then you're keeping Gross or Andreas on your bench instead. I think that could work. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting rid of Robertson for James, but that's neither here nor there. I'd probably go the second route and go. Now that we've looked at the full team, I'd go the second route and say get the Mitrovic and then use the dead spot for a 5. Well, I mean, if you probably don't even need to go a 5 mil mid. If you're just going to use it as a dead spot, go down to whoever's a 4.4. And you've got the extra cash.
I think that's it. Even if you're playing the rotation game, like your 15th player can still be anyone. Like not going to come from that.
I'd assume he's not going to use that. I've already put 0.8 in the bank as well, so I assume they're not going to use the bench boost until after the World Cup or whatever. Anyway, so you could use your 15th spot as a dead spot, and then you've got 14 you can pick and choose from.
In good shape. I like
Mitra. Yeah, I like it. I was going to say it's a good team, actually. Yeah, looking at that. Just like,
was a good team, very good.
Yeah. Mitrovic would be my shot for that one.
There we go. Well, yeah. Before we go, we've got one last. We'll make it quick because no one cares about the draft. The draft is dead. Fine, Matty's here. We can get the draft up.
That's why
the leagues aren't
updated
yet. It is still Thursday night. But actually, before that, we had no other big transfer window news. Nothing major has happened.
Nothing major.
Stopped in his car.
Top of the list there, Ben. Top of the pile there. That's that picture.
There was the big Anthony transfer today, weren't there? United. But I think he's on locked at the moment, so you can't stick him in.
Yeah, that's the issue. He'll be in next week though. But yeah, that might be an option at some point. But yeah, to get to the draft, Matty, go on. There it is. There's your name in like 65. Like, look at my score there. I'm just saying, 47 points.
Everybody else.
Anyone else I was playing? Anyone? I thought I had a good week.
You would have beat me, Benno. I got 46 this week and beating Eddie.
That hurts.
But Ben,
Matthew,
that's Haaland and Alvarez, though, isn't it? They were both in. They have got them both up front, so they done the damage there for me. And Haaland won me the other game, I think, as well, last week. So
when did you get Alvarez in?
Ben, I told you, this is where my football brain, not my FPL brain, come in, because I knew he'd get minutes, and apparently they're raving about him. Obviously, Haaland took all the plaudits with the signing. But apparently they were all raving about this fella as well. Like he's going to be a great player. So with his minutes, he's going to score in that team. No, I got him in the original draft quite high as well, I think. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
But
why are you bragging? Sorry, mate. Why are you bragging about that? Did you get him before or after Timo Werner, who was leaving the country? I mean,
well, that's where I didn't keep up with the transfer news, and it was my own fault. That
FPL brain, mate. FPL brain.
It was exactly. But the only guy who hasn't done a tap for me is that Moore. I've got him up front, but it doesn't matter.
Who that is?
So, for Bournemouth.
I guess the first time I've seen a Bournemouth hit. Has anyone else seen a Bournemouth player? At any point?
He was the last. No, Ben, he was the last one I ended up with. Something like that it was. But another one I'm going to keep hidden is that Fabio Vieira. Apparently he's good as well, isn't he, for Arsenal? So hopefully I can get him in when he starts playing and that. If he does,
he hasn't
not played.
Not yet. No, he's waiting in the wings, boys.
65 points though. Like,
you know what that was then? Souček hasn't done a tap. First goal of the season, and I drafted McAllister in for Harvey Barnes, and Chris was on me, weren't he? But because Harvey Barnes scored against Everton, was it, Chris?
Yeah.
And then, but McAllister got it back to me this week with that. So it is what it is. But I'm happy with my team overall, boys. I am. And as long as it beat you, Ben, I don't care now. As long as it's like the old fame, Rangers v Celtic, then 4 games a season. I've just got to beat you, mate. That's all that matters.
When's the parade, mate? Is it going to be coming down Park Road in a bit? Is it? Yeah.
I'll be past your house soon, man. Don't worry.
Congratulations, mate. I'll give it to you.
Thank you. But another big result, sorry, was we needed JP to beat Gareth for the league, didn't we, boys? We like a 60. We didn't want him running away. Brilliant result, that.
Weird the way Gareth's not here, isn't it? Doesn't turn up the week.
When he got beat, he's fuming. He's got all on chalkboards in his house and whiteboards all around the house. His plan for the weekend.
I think he'll be coming back with a vengeance.
I think where it went down for Gareth there was Brighton not getting the clean sheets. That's what's been helping Gareth's team. And they had a rotter Tuesday.
That absolutely killed him off. Who did JP have? JP. Oh, there he's getting a Sancho points. Bloody hell. Colin
Isaac. He nabbed Isaac. And got
him he did bring him in.
Isaac,
yeah.
That's a great signing.
He did well there. That's what you get. That's the privilege of being boss of the league.
Yeah. Look at them digs you're throwing out there, Ben.
He's not here, is he? So, you got me in the mood now. You made me feel competitive. Any other big results there, Jamesy? Just on the losing end to Connor. That one went down to the wire.
That's Connor's first win. Got himself off the sheet, off the mark. Yeah. It's the double Liverpool defense is just killing me. I have Alisson and Robbo, and I thought I was going to be guaranteed 12 points every week with the two of them, but that's just killing me. And like they were my two top, them and Bowen, who's done nothing. So my top three signings basically in the draft have done very little so far, and that's just really handicapping me every week. I was delighted. I got Stones. I think JP sold Stones in anger there a couple of weeks ago, and I managed to nab him for a 10-pointer there last week. So that was a nice little signing.
Nice.
I think whoever christened it Pep Roulette, right, though, because Stones hasn't had a look in, but Ake got injured, though. They need to be fair, so he's in now. So, and Laporte's going to get a good rumble. This new fella they bought, he probably might get through in as well.
Yeah, they got Sergio Gomez, didn't they, as well, I think?
Yeah. Well, that and that lad from Dortmund, wasn't it? The centre-back, they got him in, haven't they?
They just
Yeah.
There was a year where my tactic was getting in like 6 City players because I was like, well, some of them have got to play, but then every week only 3 of them would start. So it's just
that's it.
Move on. It's like
I've got Mahrez. He's done nothing, has he? He's been benched most. I think he started 1 game. Well, that's about it. But he comes on at least. No, not yet, Ben. I'm trying to get rid of that more, but as soon as I get rid of that more, he'll bag a double at home to someone won't eat standard that.
I'll make you an offer. I'll send you someone.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, Jordan, you knocked off Will there, who had a catastrophe. And I've noticed he's not calling in this week. In the main GRAPPL league, Will Cooling has literally the lowest points this week of anyone else in the league. It might have changed tonight, maybe, but I'm not sure it's changed that much. Not a good week for our Wills. Good week for you, though, Jordan. You're doing better than last year so far.
Yeah, but team's all right, isn't it? It's I tried to go for balanced overall, and it's kind of working out. I need to make some changes now, though, but I'm kind of too high up the table to get stuff on the waiver. So it's kicking me at some stage.
Is there anyone also 11 a.m. tomorrow? So people will probably. This
is a good week to be low down as well because all the free transfers are going to come in.
I see your tactic, Chris. There you are. There you are. 11.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a bad year. I was going to say
transfer window open. He's down there. He's going to nab all the signings now and fly up the league.
Ben, move the table up, please.
Yeah, move it up.
Our top 4 will do me, boys.
I mean, like I said to you in the other chat, there are 33 weeks to go. Just saying, you know.
Oh, Ben, I can't wait. I'm thriving for it now. I can't wait for it now.
The competition.
You've got the most points of anyone, Matty. Total points.
As I say, just down to that Haaland, it'll be caps hung on him all season, I think, boys.
You could win the whole thing with that, genuinely. I said that to you before. Like, 100% Haaland carries on like this, you're going to beat most people. You're going to see most people off just with him. It doesn't matter the rest of the players.
Someone had a crap team last year but had Salah and just kept winning. I can't remember who it was. And they just fell off towards the end, kind of, but just purely having one really good player can totally swing it. Like,
on the flip side of that, I've had Jesus and Odegaard both be the best players in their game week and lost both of those games. So not always.
Look at the draw, isn't it? Oh, there he is. There's IWC. You got him in the draft.
I got him in a couple of weeks ago as well. That was it. I got him in there early. Yeah, and then
Chris Havertz as well. He's done nothing, has he? He's done nothing
as well.
See, I picked up Barnes after I saw that.
I got rid of him.
I'd let him go. Yeah, I was going to send you a trade, and then you'd already got rid of him. But yeah, Jorginho's already scored his goal for this month, so he's been coming out of that for a while, and then they'll get a penalty in a couple of games, and then he'll get that in.
There's a stat from Rian. Haaland got the same amount of points as Will. So if you'd have played Will, Matty, the rest of your team couldn't have turned up, and you'd have still won. Brilliant. Well, who's coming up in the fixtures then for next week? I haven't actually looked at this yet. So got me against Chris. So there we go. I'll take. I don't know. Depends who you get in on the waiver wire. That could be scary.
Jordan.
Chris Elliott.
Battle of the Irish.
Oh, here we go. Jordan and Jamesy. 1-on-1. Yeah, Irish against Irish. Connor against JP. Gareth against Eddie. And there you go. Andy against Matty. You got Matty.
Fourth.
Yeah, it's a big game, that, Andy. That's Sky Sports that on Sunday 4:30, that one, mate. That's the one I'm telling that.
European places.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, yeah, the last thing to have a look at then before we do go is the proper GRAPPL league. This one doesn't count. I don't
Yeah.
that one's just for fun. This is the real stuff I'm about to get into, Matty.
No, it's not.
Yeah, just bringing it up now. Yeah, I started we've got a separate league for us as the I don't know what we are, correspondents, GRAPPL.
Yep. Ben, how many's in that league? Because it doesn't let me go below 10 on my finger. It won't let me scroll down. Weirdly enough.
I'll have a look
More
now.
than that, isn't it?
Yeah, we added it because like I've been charitable and let Carl in. Jeff in as well, so we've got a couple of stragglers. Oh, probably those are the types of lads we'll probably bleed into this and have on as the season goes on. Yeah, so load this up now. GRAPPL, there we are. So in the GRAPPL league at the minute, at the top of the league, there we go. Can everyone see that? Make that a bit bigger.
Can be a bit bigger, yeah.
First up, Pendant. Who's penned in moderation? This is doing my head in every week. The number one now. The anonymous
Jamesy,
general
you're
manager.
doing well there, Jamesy. You're doing very well.
Going well, Matty, yeah.
Yeah. And Jordan there as well.
Bloody hell, there. But yeah, Jordan's always there or thereabouts. Yeah, James, and you did well this week, but Jesus, that's good going. That third popping right. Where were you before that? Do you know?
About 16th or 15th, I think.
Take that, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so that's the highest I've ever been in the GRAPPL league, so I'm delighted with that. Yeah.
Very good, boys.
Have you had a look for yourself, Matthew? Do you know where you are? Oh, there's past there, JP's brother. 60. He's,
I'm 122nd, I think, Ben, somewhere down there. Like. As I say, Ben, this is I'm getting bled into this. I'm only bothered about the draft, boys. Strictly the draft for me, because money's involved.
Have you paid me yet?
Has anyone? I was going to ask you that. Has anyone, Ben?
Yeah, everyone except you. Yeah.
Oh, Andy! Oh, I'll send it over then. You didn't ask me for this.
I'll only mess with. There's a couple who haven't sent it over still. So it's
I'll send it, Ben. Don't worry. Give me a couple of weeks.
So yeah, there's Tommy, JP's son, doing pretty well. Your Jeff doing all right, Andy?
Yeah.
He's had a bad couple of weeks, but he's not used any of his chips, unlike me. He's sensible. He's a sensible one of the brothers.
Always thought that. The sensible actor, if one such exists. There's me, 79th. I've moved up, so I'll take that, despite it not being the best couple of weeks. Can't quite see you, Matty, but you're around. You're there or thereabouts. Who's bottom? That's the biggest prize. Is Will bottom? Oh no, Will's not at the bottom. Roberto Callis, whoever that is.
157th as well.
I'm about 122, aren't I, boys? I can't even see me. You've gone down, Ben, too much.
There's Martin, 158. Yeah, 120 seconds. So yeah, you're in the mix, mate. You can always rise from there.
Gareth's 118.
There he is. 1, 2, 3.
He was talking about giving up in the GRAPPL chat today, wasn't he, Matty?
He was, yeah. He was. He very, very much so was, yeah. That is
he's fed up with the template.
Yeah. When I found out the back end of last season, Ben, or in the summer, where he was he was only taking it deadly serious when he thought you were. So it's like you bring the worst out of us, Ben.
That's what I do. I'll shit talk him into putting the effort in going forward, but still early in the season, so it's anyone's.
No, but boys, unless I get Haaland in, let's be honest, everyone's getting mega points. Like I know you've probably covered this, but I need to draft him in. But I'm not going to change. I'm sticking to me guns, like so. My own fault, really.
Could be a fool's errand. We'll see. But no, did well this week, mate. Hopefully you'll be climbing up the leagues. But yeah, as a final thing, I'll just have a look at that correspondence league. I don't think we've got you in it yet, have we, Chris?
It says I'm waiting to be added in, so I don't know if that means I must have missed the cutoff point. So I'll be in next week.
So there it is in black and white, just for us lot. James Lee leading the pack. Jordan in second out of us lot. JP in third. Carl, who let him in fourth. Your Jack making a good debut there in fifth in our main league. There's me in sixth. In the grand scheme of things, Gareth not doing too badly. In eighth in the mix there, and Will and Martin propping up bottom. There you are. Your entries. You'll we'll have you in at some point soon, Chris. But yeah, all
As
to
long
play
as I don't
for.
start on 0 at the bottom.
Starts during game week 1. It's not like that season where like the game broke and everyone's leagues were starting from game week 2.
Top 3 are all Irish. Just saying. Come on, now. Get your act together. Shout up the British as usual.
Yeah, JP's there as well. But yeah,
top 3 all Irish.
He'll kill me. I hope he doesn't listen to this far. There we are anyway. But yeah, that's it for another GRAPPL FPL, I reckon. Matty, you learned something? Or you taught us something? One or the other.
No, I'm late. It's just how competitive you're taking the GRAPPL League now, Ben, is it? That's all good because you're well ahead of me. That's all it is. But no, boys, love it. Even waiting to be brought on there, just listening to all of you. But I don't want to single anyone out. But Chris, mate, I could just do your own thing, mate, and I could listen to it all night. Unbelievable, unbelievable stuff.
You need to get him on YouTube. He's the next big YouTuber.
Yeah, no. Bosh, the heat map, I love it. But everyone's doing a great job, boys. Honestly, brilliant stuff. Love it.
Cheers, Matt. And Jordan, yeah, great having you on for your first one, mate. Definitely have you on again soon, mate. You can you can teach us something but when you're winning this entire thing by the end of the season.
I'll be top in 2 weeks. It'll be fine.
I love that. Love it.
It'll all work out. And Andy, what's the chip next week? What are we doing? How many hits?
Just leaving it as it is.
Oh, no chance.
No chance.
No more minuses, Andy. Now you're on -8. Step away from
Andy,
the login.
I will do.
You wouldn't be good on Millionaire, mate. You'd be using your lifelines up in the first couple of goals.
Hey, to be honest, on the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game, I did get £1 million, so I was very good on it.
There you go. Brilliant, that.
Oh, amazing. It'll come right for Mr. Chips eventually. But yeah, Chris, Jamesy, thanks for coming on as always, lads. Anything else?
No worries. No. It's, as I say, always, if anybody does have any queries during the week, feel free to shoot me a message at Great Bashil on Twitter, and I can always look stuff up for people. Might as well use the account for something because it's not working for me.
You'll be back, Chris. No, I have every faith in you.
That's it. It's a new month, so be rocketing up. I'll be in 3 millionth by the end of September.
I believe in you, mate. Do as you say, not what you do. I think that's
exactly
that's the lesson here. But yeah, Jamesy, nice one for being back, lad. You're feeling better, mate. Like
great
flying
up
that
league. Last week, I have to say.
Yeah. Oh, we missed having you, mate. So yeah, we will be back again next week. We'll see if Gareth has a good week. Maybe he'll jump back on again. Same with JP. But thank you everyone out there in Twitch land who's tuned in live and stuck through the entire broadcast. Thank you to those on YouTube. And yeah, if you don't know already, you can get the podcast now over on iTunes. We have been authenticated over there. Just search for GRAPPL FPL. It's on Spotify as well, so you can subscribe over there wherever podcasts are sold. But yeah, that's it for us for another FPL club. We'll catch you again next Thursday night.
Stooping on.
Cheers all. I really couldn't believe you want to